Which one of these players needs a championship to prove they're the best player on the planet? We have Spallina going number one. You have Eric Spanos going number one to the Archers.
I'm not convinced that like Joey Spallina can be like the guy on an offense.
Welcome to another episode of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show. We are so back. Episode 30. Season 2 has been flying by. MPLS presented by Duke Cannon. You see the hair. You know what gets it done. Shop the products today. Live on TLN's YouTube channel. Doogs, Hoagie, Kevin. We're going to dive right into it. Obviously, bye week for the PLL, so we're going to get creative here. I want to talk legacy here for a second. What's on the line? Which of these players, and Doogs, I want to start with you as just an Italian from Garden City, New York. Which one of these players needs a championship to prove they're the best player on the planet? I'm going to go down the list, and I want you to pick one of these guys and give me your why. Brendan O'Neill, 𝐓𝐇𝐄, Connor Schellenberger, Michael Sowers, or CJ Kirst?
I think the easy answer out of this list would be Brendan O'Neill. I think that 𝐓𝐇𝐄's point production kind of speaks for itself over in the consistency since he's gotten into the league for how dominant he is. But when you're asking me, I think there's a guy that you're leaving off this list, Mitch.
Uh-oh.
And he's an Irish guy.
Uh-oh.
Island. I think it's kind of disrespectful to this point that the admin didn't put in Pat Cavanaugh. And I'm not saying here to say that I think he's the best lacrosse player in the world, but if you're looking at the resume stacked up with everybody else's, he has the Tewaaraton, he has the back-to-back national championships, and top 5 and this has got to count for something. He's top 5 in the who should the MVP should have been rankings.
Those might have been skewed.
Add a PLL MVP, championship MVP, and a championship to that. He has the best resume in lacrosse in the last 5 years, and he has a very good argument. If somebody decided to say, I think Pat Cavanaugh's the best player in lacrosse right now, there would be not one single bit of me would be like, you know what, that's not true. Like, he has everything. He's doing everything that you want out of a lacrosse player.
Outlaws win the championship this year. In your eyes, is Pat Cavanaugh the best lacrosse player on the planet?
He's the most accomplished for sure.
No. Answer the question, Dukes.
I think that it would be if he wins the PLL championship MVP. If he wins the PLL championship MVP, yes, there'd be nothing where I could be like, he's not. He's done literally everything. He's done it at the highest level. He's done it in college. Like, he's clearly like the catalyst that makes championship runs go. It would be tough for me to make the argument that he's not.
Okay, Kev,
I don't know how long he'd hold that title for.
Yeah. I've been saying that Brendan O'Neill is their most valuable player. A couple episodes ago, I said, who I would protect in a hypothetical expansion draft. But look, that argument would get a lot harder for me to make if Pat Cavanaugh leads them to a championship and wins a championship game MVP. All of a sudden, then, it's a lot tougher to say Brendan O'Neill is the best player on this team. To the original question, though, I think that you could kind of look at it inversely, and it's like which guy is under the most pressure. And when you think about it that way, it's definitely Brendan O'Neill. If he doesn't win, just look at the way his college career was scrutinized. He never won a championship, and it didn't matter that while he was in college, he was the MVP of a gold medal USA team. He didn't win at Duke, so therefore he was underperforming. Like, this guy is under the biggest microscope probably we've ever seen in the lacrosse world. And I think that he's under the most pressure. He needs a championship to silence his critics and prove that he's the number one player in the world. I think that same applies to 𝐇𝐄 and Schellenberger a little bit. Sowers, I think, feels probably the least amount of pressure on here, only because he's already got a championship. Yeah. And Kirst, lower pressure level, rookie, coming off an injury. Yeah. Just still riding the high of college. I don't think there's any pressure for him to win right now. But if he does win a PLL championship and championship game MVP and leads the Water Dogs there, I think he might have the most airtight case.
Let's just
generational run would just continue, Kev, if he can get a PLL
wins championship this year.
Oh my God!
Will he have the best full calendar year that any lacrosse
he's
player's ever had?
racking wins on wins. He's stacking them on.
I know Kyle Harrison. We're talking 2005 undefeated PLO championship. Tewaaraton, or not PLL championship, national championship, Tewaaraton, undefeated Hopkins season. I think was the number 1 overall draft. I don't think they won the MLL championship, but like that's probably the closest calendar year we've seen in a while. Like, can we pinpoint on that real quick?
That would be crazy.
That's what I mean when I say, like, his case all of a sudden. Like, we're talking best player on the planet right now, today. Like, if he leads the Water Dogs all the way there and wins a championship game MVP, I really don't know who you can say other than him.
It has to be MVP because, like, if you get outperformed by Michael Sowers, it's, like, not like he got carried. I'm not going to say CJ, but, like,
no, that's true.
You even, like, But I made the argument last year with Pat Cav when he went to the Cannons. I was like, look, if he wins the championship with the Cannons, even if he's like, not like the star player for it, you pretty much could like make a case he's a Hall of Fame, like maybe not professional lacrosse Hall of Famer, but like lacrosse Hall of Famer right away. Same with CJ 𝐓𝐄 right now. You have that calendar year, like lacrosse Hall of Fame, Mitch. So there's the professional lacrosse Hall of Fame where you have to have like professional accolades, and then there's the lacrosse, which just like your entire career.
Yeah, that lives in Sparks, Maryland. I know, but. I mean, come on. This is a whole different argument now.
Dude, CJ 𝐓𝐄 could pretty much, in my opinion, lock up.
So you think if CJ 𝐓𝐄 wins a championship this year, and let's say after this year stops playing lacrosse, he's in the Hall of Fame?
He's already a college Hall of Famer, 100%. How is he not?
Yeah, Mitch,
How is he
I
not?
do.
Most goals in a career,
I mean, we're talking
national
Sparks,
champion.
Maryland. We're talking Sparks, Maryland, USA Lacrosse.
Yes, he's already in a college Hall of Fame. Why would he can't do anything
Kevin,
more in college?
do you
Nothing
agree
he
with
doesn't.
this? Is this heinous?
Mitch, it's a college Hall of Fame.
No,
Nothing
I'm
he
saying
doesn't.
like overall.
No.
I know he's a college Hall of Famer.
Kev,
I'm
before you
talking
go,
overall.
Kev, before you go, I just want to tell Mitch one thing that he might. So CJ 𝐓𝐄 this season, he broke the all-time goals record in NCAA lacrosse. So, like, this
100%.
is like, so
I'm
the
not
thing about-
doubting the college, Doogs.
But what are you doubting?
that
I'm doubting
enough,
having
that
a
enough will
Hall
get
of
him in.
Fame title after
He's not a
just
PLL
playing
Hall of
1 year.
Famer.
Kev,
He's not a
Kev, again, let me just say-
PLL Hall of Famer, but he's a lacrosse Hall of Famer already.
Kev,
Locked, signed, sealed, delivered.
Kev, let me just
Yes,
tell
that's
Mitch
true.
one more time. Mitch,
how is he
so
not? He's one of the greatest
CJ
college players
𝐓𝐄
of all
scored
time.
the most goals of all time. And think about how
How is he
Hall
not
of
a
Fame
college
this
Hall
year.
of Famer, Mitch?
I do, or Hoagie, want me to say it again? I agree. He's a college Hall of Famer.
Or he's a Hall of Famer. How is he not a Hall
You
of
think he's
Famer?
I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer holistically by playing 1 year. Again, if he wins it this year and doesn't play professional in his lifespan after this year, do you still think he's a lacrosse Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Yeah, so Mitch,
How is
this
he not?
season, he scored the most goals of all time.
That's
guys.
crazy. I don't know.
he
I just
scored the
feel
most
like you
goals
need
of all
that in
time.
the resume. I just think you need
He
that
scored-
in the resume.
He scored
I feel
the
like
most
that's gonna
goals
be
of
Think about
all
how many
time.
players are Hall of Famers who are just, for a couple-year, multi-year first-team All-Americans and played in the MLL compared to now. CJ 𝐓𝐄 was a Tewaaraton winner, national champion, 82
Scored the
goals,
most goals
all-time
of all
goal
time.
record. So, there's guys like that
Yeah.
currently in the
100%.
lacrosse
He
Hall
has
of
the-
Fame. So how is
he has
CJ
the
𝐓𝐄
Kevin
not already in
Boylard
it?
puts the ball in the back of the net award like of all
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
100%.
Mitch, I want to clarify something because people in the
Yeah.
audience might be confused. This isn't like what we saw in Chicago, like the PLL Professional Lacrosse Hall of Fame.
No,
I'm
yes.
saying, I think that people will
Yeah.
be. I'm not talking about the gold jackets. I'm not talking about the halftime ceremony. This is completely different. It's
Just
probably closer to
lacrosse.
like
This is probably the MPLS Hall of Fame.
Yeah. How you doing?
How you
But if
doing?
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to go
look
real quick.
Are you going to go? Okay.
I'm going to go real quick. I want to say Brendan O'Neill. Man, I just feel like it's so stereotypical, but man, I just feel like it's the one thing he's missing. And it's sad that I wish he got one in college just for his legacy. And I feel like he needs one because you know how storylines go. If he doesn't get one in the PLL, it's going to be the one question mark in his career. And I know it's stereotypical, but man, I'm praying that he gets one.
No,
Hoagie?
yeah. You're right. Yeah, I think Brendan O'Neill obviously first comes to mind because of what you just said, because what everyone said, the championship's the monkey on his back. That's the thing that until he wins it kind of feels like almost like LeBron James before he got that first championship with the Heat. It was like he was the stud of the league. He was a generational talent. Everyone knew he was the best player in the world, but like until he won that first championship, like there was going to be questions. People were going to, call him out on it, and he finally got that championship, get the monkey off his back. But for me, in terms of like proving he's currently the best player in the world, to me, like 𝐓𝐇𝐄, what a championship would go for him would be huge. I know everyone internally here who watches knows how good 𝐓𝐇𝐄 is, but I feel like people would say he had somewhat of a down year this year. He still finished third the league in points. He's a quieter guy, so he's not out there as much on like the social media platforms. He's not out there. We don't see him on all like the videos and stuff like that. But last year MVP of the league by a wide margin. I think it was like 30 or something points. He's been a stud for years to go. If he can have last year's MVP season and then mix that in this year with a PLL championship for the first time, I don't see how you can't say at the current moment he's the best player on the planet.
And if we're talking best player on the planet, of those 5 guys, he's by far the best box player. So I don't know if that factors into it, but he is,
100%. Okay, let me pose you guys this then. And Doogs, I want to start back up with you. Which of these players needs a championship run the most to be their positional GOAT? Rob Pennell, obviously attack. Trevor Baptiste, Fogo, Blaze, Reardon with goalie, Matt Dunn with defense.
Wow. So, I think Rob Pennell, no matter what he does, will not be their attack GOAT.
Yes. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah, we agree that.
That was so disrespectful, but
No, but I think a
No,
championship.
I don't think it is.
no. I know. It's just,
No,
just
he
the
won't
way-
be the GOAT.
The delivery.
He won't be the
delivery is
GOAT
like
in
one
terms
thing
of
we can all-
attackman of all time, but a championship I think would go a long way in terms of looking at Rob's legacy as an all-time player, having a championship.
I'm picking Rob right out of the gate. I mean, I look back to, I did a podcast with him during COVID. He still thinks about his freshman year at Cornell, losing to Syracuse in the national championship. I'm pretty sure, did he win? He won one with the Lizards in the MLL, but
Yeah, 2015. But like since the merger.
yeah,
Let's
since
do, like,
the
since
merger.
the merger. I
Since
think
the
the PLL
merger,
championship would
for all
also
you
go like a
MLL
long way.
fans out there, we're all talking about since the merger here. Just want to clarify that 100%. I think he needs one.
I'm not breaking news here, but like a PLL championship will probably count more than an MLL championship.
100%.
Like,
That's not
Here
even a
comes the
question.
haters. No,
good.
I
hope
agree.
they
agree.
come. I'm used to them. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable.
I think Rob Pennell will have a case, especially with the PLL championship. He just became the only player of the 300 assist club. Look, I've been on the record that I like putting the ball in the back of the net. And so if we're talking like greatest attackman, I have a little bit more respect for John Grant Jr., who owns the all-time goals record. But if we're talking about best GOAT ex-attackman facilitator, like to maybe like hone it in a little tighter, Rob Pennell with a championship would do that. He may already be that, even without the championship.
I agree with that. Doogs.
I agree with it for right now. I do think that there's going to be people with less assists when it's all said and done. That I'm going to be like, yeah. I think that like if they had the same amount of games played as like the MLL or like, I'm not going to
Hoagie,
say.
who's your pick?
Yeah,
are you
I
going
think-
with the Fogos?
Yeah.
No, because I think Trevor's already solidified himself in most people's eyes as the best face-off guy at all time. I don't think he needs
think?
a championship. Yeah, I think
As a Fogo guy too. I
Over
think there's-
Gurenlian?
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
think
say.
Trevor. Yes, I
Yes!
do. I think Trevor's the best face-off guy of all time. I think, especially in the modern-day game and all that stuff playing in the league and how good he's been year after year. I think a championship just fully like seals that thing, sends it in the mailbox, and it's already locked in. But like, I think people already know he's the best. To me, I would probably say Blaze Reardon. Honestly, I think another championship, a second PLL championship, another great playoff run. Like, I'm still thinking about last year's game against Boston and Gillette when he stole that game from the Cannons. It's like, why did the Chaos win that game? Because of Blaze Reardon being a stud. If he can have this team go on a run this year with all the doubt, with everyone saying how bad of a roster they have, if he can go on a legendary run and win them a championship this year, I don't see how we can't say he's not the best goalie of all time, or at least it'll go a long way in his legacy in that way.
I'll piggyback off what Hogan just said. Given where the roster was and what it is in the beginning, it wouldn't even be like this championship would sometimes count as like 5. I think in people's
Literally,
eyes, it
count
would
as
be
multiple.
It would be one of those
100%.
championships. Like it would be one of those championship runs that it would be pretty tough for someone to change my mind that he wasn't the best professional goalie of all time. Like. It
just solidifies it for your if you already had that
even like
argument already.
if Liam wins one, like it'll be like, oh, like well, and I'm just saying like I think Liam is unbelievable. I think everyone knows that, but like you'd be like, oh, he had Shelley, he had Teat. If you win one and your two best attackmen are Jackson Eicher and Owen Hiltz, and that's no disrespect to Jackson Eicher or Owen Hiltz, they're both rookies and they're not like we'll get into it later in the interview, but they're not marketing faces of the league.
Faces of the league.
Yeah.
100%.
So it would be the most impressive, I think, run
I know.
possible.
I think it will go for Blaze can do a lot to solidify his GOAT
Right.
resume. I think a lot of people think it right now. It's not that hot of a take right now, but I want you to put yourself in the mindset, kind of exactly what Doogs was saying, of a fan, young fan, 5 years from now. Blaze is retired. they're watching we just saw this article from Patrick McKeever come out, the year of the goalie, with all these guys. Emmett Carroll, Liam Ensman, Logan McNaney. They're all going to be rising. Brett Dobson. We're going to be talking about them for the next generation. And there's going to be fans who would be like, oh, yeah, well, do you remember Blaze Reardon? He used to score goalie goals and like was insanely good and had a super unorthodox style. And all these kids will be like, yeah, I don't care. There's all these great goalies right now. So I think if he wins a second championship, it'll go so much further to be like, no, two-time champion Blaze Reardon. Everyone remembers him. He's the GOAT. Everyone else is fighting for second place.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because like Dauber has like the championships, like Liam also has like the great college career. He has the stats. He has the most saves per game, like going into the playoffs. I think that Kev kind of totally nailed that one. I want to touch about Matt Dunn really quick though, because the Whipsnakes have the best defense in the league, and I think that if the Whipsnakes obviously win a championship or even go on a, I'd even go as far to say like go on a run. Matt Dunn has a great case.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the stories of Petramala will always be there, but like. Again, I didn't watch him play. I'm going to go off of like from what I've personally seen on the professional field. There hasn't been one better defenseman than Matt Dunn.
He's been doing
the one that was close was Matt
so
Landis,
long.
and he played for one season.
Yeah. He's been doing it for so
since
long
the merger.
too.
Since the merger.
Yeah.
Since the merger.
Let's stick with potentially the Whipsnakes here. I'm going to pose you guys another question. Hoagie, I want to start with you on this one.
Yeah.
Which of these coaches has the most to gain by winning this year's PLL title? Jim Stagnita, first to 3 PLO championships, obviously. I don't think ever won one with the Charlotte Hounds in the MLL. Tim Sudan, been coaching a long time, never won one, so this would be his first pro championship ever. And then Bill Tierney, obviously won tons in NCAA Division I, Princeton and Denver, and then obviously would be the first to do it with a PLO championship.
I think to me it's Bill Tierney. Just looking at that list that you just said, to me, Bill Tierney, as a guy who's one of the most legendary, if not the most legendary coach in the history of lacrosse, not just saying pro, like college, everything, high school, all that. Like, Tierney's a legend. What he was able to do at Princeton and then just go take that Denver program, build it from the ground up. Now they're a perennial power. I think for him to get a PLL championship, to be the first coach to ever have both an NCAA championship and a PLL championship, would just solidify his legacy in terms of being like that all-time coach. And I think it would also help rewrite these last 2 years of, underperforming, I would say, as I've been critical of the Water Dogs. They have the roster that's ability. They have a roster that is good enough to win a championship. In the last 2 years, they have underachieved up to this point. We'll see what happens during this playoff run. I'm obviously high on them. Doogs and I both think they're going to be playing in Jersey for the championship. But to me, I think Bill Tierney has a ton to gain this year legacy-wise of, getting a PLL and a college championship. I think for me, look at the other guys on the list. Staggs, to me, is the best pro coach of all time. He already has 2. He's shown it to me. I don't know if he has the roster that's good enough to essentially win 3 games to win a championship this year. I think it would be great if he could get them to a semi or even get them to a championship. But Staggs, I think another win just keeps solidifying his resume. To me, is already the best pro coach of all time. And then Sudan, I think it helps him, but I don't see Sudan ever being able to fully catch Stagnita as the best pro coach of all time. So, even with a championship, Pseudo is still going to kind of be like that little brother, the 1B kind of to Staggs to me.
I think there's been better pro coaches too. I think that we got to throw some respect to some of the MLL coaches. I mean, like Dave Cottle, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I'm just talking merger.
No, but I'm saying I would try to stick up for Dave Cottle, but that piece of shit blocked me on Twitter. That. Sorry,
Whoa,
to
Jesus.
go off.
Heinous. Hey now.
You could block that out, but
Yeah.
I hate Dave Cottle.
Why did he block you?
I would probably guess that he's one of
You know
those
the
like
tweet.
MLL soft sense. Corey, you could also block that out.
Did you ever go back and forth with Dave Cottle back in the day?
I randomly just stumbled upon his Twitter and I just saw Dave Cottle has you blocked, and I was like, all right.
Wow, interesting.
It's probably,
interesting.
you know what it probably was? It was probably the Lyle Thompson tweet. And going back to the Lyle Thompson tweet really quick, I saw New Heights had Taylor Swift on. If lacrosse wants their Taylor Swift moment, I need to get in a room with Lyle Thompson.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. Stay tuned for that. I think the coach I'm saying, I feel like it's Tim Sudan. And
Really?
I think,
agree.
I think
Really?
because, and Kev, back check me here, he's 3rd all-time in pro lacrosse wins, correct?
Correct.
I think he needs it the most. I think he's one of the most underrated guys because we haven't seen him get his team to the final lap, right? In so many years, he's been doing this for so long. 3rd in wins. Staggs is 1, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's a comparison there. But at the same time, Tim needs to get his team to win a championship to potentially be in that conversation, right? You can't be at the top of the leader in wins and not have a championship.
So you're saying,
Kev, who do
Mitch,
you
like
think?
not catching Stags per se, maybe all time, but like rather than falling into the bottom of the pack, like he's at least in that like discussion up with that group of guys with Stags.
100%.
I'm going to say, Sudan, but kind of for the opposite reason, Mitch.
Okay.
Like, I do think he does need that to kind of solidify himself, but he's also a coach that every year people are asking questions about. And you just gave this guy 4 Tewaaraton winners. He's the number 1 seed in the West.
That's a good way
if
to put
they
it.
fall short, people are going to be like, what does this guy need to win a championship? Clearly, he's been around forever. You can give him all the best players. If he doesn't win a championship with that, he probably won't win one. So if I'm Tim Sudan, I'm actually sweating this not so much from a legacy perspective, but from a job security perspective. So I know he's one of the best. I know he's done it for a long time, but he hasn't reached the pinnacle.
Yep.
I think that the Sudan situation, but like you kind of said, like he got gifted. It's like he deserves some credit for like drafting, acquiring the capital, signing Bernhardt. Like
GM,
that does,
he maybe should have an underrated case for GM of the year.
Yeah.
And I also, but even for coach of the year, if I was going to make the argument for Tim Sudan, it's after like week 1 and week 2, like everyone was kind of like, like is this going to work out? And it, at the time, I feel like I was the only person that was like, guys, they haven't even practiced. Like they had one week of like practice. Like they're gonna gel together. They're gonna come together. That's like a testament, I think, to the coaching and the culture that he's building. Like those guys, fucking love Sudan.
Yeah.
If you ask any of those players, like and even former players, I didn't really realize when I like ask around about him because like he's probably the one coach I've never really talked to or like picked his brain about, and his players were like die for him. They all think he's like, and I think they want to get it for him bad.
Yeah.
I think they do. Well, he needs it. I would say he needs it from that end. Like Tierney, I don't need a PLL championship. I got 7 NCAA tournament championships. Stags, he's got his trophies. I do think there is a Stags case too, in that if you flash back to Champ Series, and remember we were talking about like we were kind of looking back at last season, and we were saying like dynasty and like is the Archers dynasty now better than the Whips?
Yeah.
Like if they won a Champ Series title, then yes, it definitely would be. And yeah, Bates has 2 titles now. Stags has 2 titles. Look where Bates is right now in the Archers. They missed the playoffs. Stags got his team there. If he can, like, I know he didn't win it last year, but if he can get his team to the championship this year, back-to-back championship appearances, I do think that he kind of like reestablishes some of that distance between him and Bates, who
That's
he lost
Tillman.
to head-to-head.
Yeah.
He'd be the Tillman of
That's a good
pros.
Yeah, he would.
I also think that one thing I want to say about
He
Bill
is,
Tierney
though.
before we move on
Yeah.
is Bill Tierney. Like, I do think that with his championship, it would be one of those things. It's like, like he was successful as a pro. Like nobody will even like ever talk about like his record or like week over
Yeah.
week. Like
He just
everyone
wins.
would kind of forget about last year. Like it's just like once you win a championship, like it's like
You
oh, it's
solidify
successful.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if
100%.
not, you're getting that Nick Saban thing where it's like all-time best college coach of all time, but like, oh, he couldn't win at the Dolphins. He was terrible in the NFL.
100%. All right, let me pose you a bonus question. Doogs, I want to hit you with this one. Can
Don't.
Chris Kavanaugh win a championship without his brother Pat
This year overall.
overall?
Answer the question. Overall, yeah, dude. He's on like he did you see what he did this year as a rookie? 37
100%.
points, was tied with his brother.
100%.
Like definitely showed that his like quarterback abilities that I thought like, didn't exist according to some people. Hoagie Kev, anything?
No, yeah.
Hey, you could look up the stats.
Yeah.
Like, Redwoods had the fewest assists in the
They
league
did.
this year.
People lie, numbers don't.
I will, Kev, but even going off that is like their attack last year. Like you could just tell like there's no midfield production. Like they all had to like create for their own. Like the attack was the only thing to get it going. Like he's the reason. Him and Malloy's like little tandem that they got going on. I think. that
Yeah.
Either one of
Yeah.
them, pick your poison for like who you want to go get a goal for you.
Malloy's that guy who can just, he can go through you and score.
Yeah.
And if you start sending too much help to him, then you're leaving Chris Kavanaugh alone.
So that's exactly what I'm going off, Kev. Like you don't have Pat, but you got Dylan Malloy.
Yeah.
Can he win without a Tewaaraton winner? Like that's different. But like in the sense like Dylan and him are a pretty good duo too.
Yeah.
I think Chris can
I'm like the biggest Chris guy. I think Chris honestly might be the more talented Kavanaugh.
Yeah,
I agree.
Chris.
I mean, I think their skills, they're very good
Pat's
at two
a
different
dog.
things.
Pat's like, and he, like
But you,
yeah.
do you see
they're-
where Chris Kavanaugh shoots from? Dude,
Yeah,
he's
like-
got legit range on his
That's what I was
outside
going to say.
shot.
Chris Kavanaugh has been showed me things in the PLL that we never saw in college to a
Yeah.
degree. Like that range from two ball, we never saw that deep of shooting in that play at Notre
100%.
Dame, and we see it in
Yeah,
the
it's
league
also
now.
because he
Chris
doesn't run
Kavanaugh
sprints after a
has
shot.
exceeded every expectation. I knew he was going to be a great pro and a long time pro, but to me, he's a fucking star. I know as
Yeah.
he's a
Hell yeah.
stud. No, he's a
Pat's-
stud. And
Pat's
I
a
had my
way better
questions about
quarterback.
how
Yeah.
effective he could be as a number one guy, just based off some of the things in college. Obviously, he played with Pat his whole career. Pat was always kind of that one guy, so it was he never had to be that role like we talked about until his senior year last year, where he was kind of the guy on that team. But he's been unbelievable, and I agree his ceiling could be even higher than Pat's long term in terms of his star ability and how he plays. I mean, he has range from two. He's been great at, coming down the alley and finishing. I felt like at Notre Dame a lot of times he was kind of cutting and slashing and finishing inside and all that kind of stuff. But, he's completely opened up his game for me. Pat to me, Chris to me is, that's going to come down a couple years from now as the biggest draft steal in the history of the PLL, because he's going to be a Hall of Famer, a stud pro, and people are going to be like, how did he fall to the second round of the draft? Makes no sense.
100%.
And
100%.
imagine next year when he's got
Because of
Joey
podcasters.
Spallina as his quarterback.
Stay tuned. Interview with Adam Lamberti. We talk way too early 2026 draft. Kev, let's go into playoff villain rankings. I want you to take this over.
All right.
This.
This is the counter to Doogs' Who Should the MVP should have
Potentially a better segment.
been. We'll see. These are 5 guys who
Such a dick.
who weren't in Doogs' top 5 all year, but they're in the playoffs right now. And they maybe were following the show. They watched this segment, waiting
Follow the
all
show.
year to see if they're going to be
Getting a
named.
job.
Am I going to be named in Doogs' top 5? No. And they're
Am I?
taking that motivation into the playoffs, and they're going to use it against them as fuel.
Use it against him. That sorry body. Let's hear it, Kev.
So should I deliver it like Doogs? Number
Deliver
3,
it.
Gavin Adler.
The sausage out of the Atlas.
This guy's
like
a
it.
dog. Absolute lockdown number 1 defender. He's been listening to Doogs all year say Liam Ensman sees so much rubber and his defense does him no favors. And he wants to show that he can take down any number 1 attackman, erase him from the game. He's done it this year. He's
I
going to
like
do it
that,
in the
Kev.
playoffs.
Keep it going.
Number 4, Kieran McCardle. He actually has nothing wrong with Doogs. Doogs has kind of hyped him all year.
Yep.
But he's wondering why he never made the top 5 for his MVP. He's been-
Why is that, Dukes?
Do you want me to answer it? Because he's
Not
even
yet,
close
not
to the
yet,
fucking point.
not yet. Number 5, another water dog. That Doogs is kind of nice too, as long as we're not going too hard on the goalie situation. Dylan Ward, playoff caliber guy. Doogs
Playoffs?
always mentions him as a playoff caliber guy. A guy that shows up.
Playoffs?
But
Do you want
where
me to
is he
say
in the
it?
rankings?
Do you want me to say it?
Number 2, Jack Rowlett.
SGX athlete.
Yeah. One of the scariest dudes in the league. And
Yes,
honestly,
will punch Dukes.
should be in consideration for defensive player of the year. Is he in the where's the hype? Where is the hype train for Jack Rowlett as defensive
Where
player
is
of the
it?
year? And then number 1, we'll wear his shirt on the podcast. We'll hype him up as the bucket getter that he is. But where is he on the top 5 of the who should the MVP should have
Malloy
been?
time.
Dylan Malloy.
Where's
the shirt, but won't put him on the list.
Rocks his own T-shirt.
And won't put him on the list, Mitch. Won't put him on the
It's
list.
just sad. That's why my kids will never grow up in Long Island. Just scumbags up there. Dukes, please take the stand.
He who wears the crown wears it heavy. I think Dylan Malloy is an all-time villain in this scenario. Honestly, it was either him or Chris in the who should the MVP final rankings for what Chris was able to do points wise the last 2 weeks, in do or die territory, is what put him over the top. But Kev, like you said, you need a goal. I'm probably going to Dylan on the Redwoods, and I like how he's a silent assassin. He doesn't care about the social media stuff. I think that there's been a lot of stuff surrounding him since the merger that's kind of had this perfect villain story for those that have been paying attention on the in the ins and outs. So yeah, I like Dylan Malloy as the number 1 villain. Number 2, I'll go to Jack Rowlett. Yeah, I mean, look, defensive lives matter, but and I think that him and Matt Dunn are the 2 best defenders probably in the PLL. But just you have to have a pretty outstanding year. Like, I don't even know what it would take for a defender to be in the MVP rankings, which I think is like probably a critique.
You're just making them more mad.
Right, and I you know what? Maybe maybe I'm the problem.
Yeah, you need to look internally. I think that's the biggest issue here.
Yeah, but then I'd get like freaking like all these kids being like, how did you put him when there was more cost turnovers in 2006?
Yeah, you get the ML haters.
Number 3, you had
Gavin Adler.
Outstanding. Me and Hoagie have kind of touched on it the last couple of weeks, kind of going back to what you said. Like, I try to give Adler his flowers, but like it always goes back to Kevin. I think you know this better than anybody, or I don't know if you know it better than anybody, but I'm just kind of just
maybe second best to you.
Yeah, but it's team defense. Like, you could have like the best covered like defenseman, and I think Adler's been like a bright spot who's gotten like in the first couple of weeks I was not impressed with him at all. It got to the point where it was like, oh, like no, he's fine now. It was the rest of the defense for me, and it still is a problem. Like, the team defense definitely is like still like a bit of a concern for me. The number 4, you said Kieran McArdle. He wasn't on the rankings because Michael Sowers was there the entire year. Like, and as good as he is, and probably like you could make an argument like his 2022 season. I would even just say he was the best player on that championship team. I know Sowers won like the MVP, but McArdle's like kind of like what makes the drink stir for the Water Dog. So I think that he's definitely a good villain. I'd actually put him at number 2, right behind Dylan Malloy.
In terms of villain rankings?
Yeah. And then Dylan Ward. Look, I've read a lot of articles this week going about like how save percentage matters and like the boomer bust. And since he's been in the league, Dylan Ward is a boomer bust player. But like I don't even want to. I want to throw out the regular season games. I'm looking for just win me 2, Wardo. Get to the championship game, Game 7, anything could happen.
That's a
You
fact.
get to the championship game.
That's sports right there.
I think you throw away every single stat that you've seen this year and you just focus on one singular game. I don't think that like. I think it would be a fascinating situation developing if you can just win 2 games, which I think is this is the one league where it's all doable. Every spread's going to be within 1.5. Every game you go into, like we talk about, close your eyes, flip a coin.
Yep.
Dylan Ward, if I had to pick one goalie besides like probably Brett Dobson to like go win me a game, like Dylan Ward has that resume.
He's done it. He's done it for sure. And I know that
the
I
only
framed
thing he
this.
hasn't won is a high school championship.
Which is crazy. He should go back and do it. Look, I know
that was a Twitter joke.
I framed this as MVP conversation in terms of like who got snubbed from Doogs. But I love that Doogs brought up like Dylan Malloy's career arc and like his villain stuff like goes well beyond like Doogs' rankings, obviously. And I think like guys like Jack Rowlett, Kieran McArdle, Dylan Ward fall into that category as well. So yeah, Dylan Ward didn't deserve to be ever in Doogs' MVP rankings. He didn't even start every game for his team. So it's he's more of a villain in the sense that Doogs is talking about. Like, he can come in and mess things up for one game in the playoffs.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe Duke should give more respect to these guys next year. We'll continue to monitor it, Kev. We'll be the guys to look over it. If we want to bring back the segment, you guys let us know in the comments
Who
below.
would you have taken off, Mitch? You want to add some of these guys? Who would you have taken off my list? Just out of curiosity. If you want to put one on, you got to take some off.
Take one off Kev's list?
No, just like my who should the MVP should have been rankings, like
and replace it with one of these guys.
Yeah, I mean you're
give me your top 5 last week. I forget.
It was Connor Schellenberger. It was Michael Sowers,
Pat
Cav, Chris Cav, Jeff Teat. When I put them all on, I mean you got to take some off, Mitch. You know how that goes.
Maybe Dylan with Jeff.
Put Dylan
like
in
that,
instead of Jeff Teat.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
And I wouldn't hate that too. I think that like I kind of am holding the line on Jeff Teat where people are like, oh, he had kind of a down. He had 2 on Jeff Teat games, and then they just put up 4 points.
Also, too, just the production out of Shelley is not helping his
stock.
He was
like 5 points behind Shelley. It's like if Jeff Teat didn't have those, if he played with the balls from last year.
The balls like the actual.
If he had the lacrosse balls, we're talking
Yes.
lacrosse balls.
Wait, Doogs, I
thought it
genuinely
froze for a
thought you
second.
froze. I thought your screen
No.
froze.
I just no.
Fake freeze to get out of a
If he played
podcast.
with the lacrosse balls from last year, I mean, I think that Jeff T probably would have been back-to-back MVP. That's how
Yeah.
crazy it is. Because like every other game was unbelievable.
Good point.
100%. 100%. All right, we'll keep chatting about this. Again, if you guys want the segment to come back, you got to let us know in the comments because we're going to talk internally. We're going to see if we're going to bring back who should the MVP should have been for next year. Now let's talk pregame speeches. This is going to be a fun one. We're going to pretend we're all coaches in the PLL. We're going to act like we're in the locker room before the game. We're going to act like we are letting them have a speech from us, as in their head coach, before they head out into the field. I think this will be fun. Doogs, I want to start with you. From the Water Dog standpoint, give us your Tierney impression of what you're going to say to the fellas.
Look, gents, I've been doing this for 40 years. Nothing comes easy. But CJ, could you get your head out of your ass, please? You're the number 1 fucking overall pick. Who's going to show up, the last 2 weeks or the first 2 weeks? If you don't put up 6 today, you ain't going to UNC this fall. Hey, Wardo, they say you're the best fucking... Hey, Wardo, they say you're the best fucking playoff goalie of all time. You looked like fucking Kai the goalie out there. He'd be more of a help than you.
God, the legend, shout out.
Now let's go win a fucking ball game.
He would be a legend now.
CJ's going for 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
CJ is, he'll be coming
so.
for sure. I think if Stags is going, I'm rocking the Whip Snakes. I don't even know how to do the Stags impression, but I think
I
he's
do know
just
how to
like
do
all
Bill
business.
Tierney.
I think he's just all business. I think it's just like,
Coach Stud.
yeah, Coach Stud, Coach Stags. I think he's like, man, going to my Nick Myers impression here, Hoagie. Man, we got to get it done today. I'm out here. I have the best all-time winnings seasons in the PLL. We need to get it done today. And I think he's looking at Bernhardt. I don't think he's cracking any jokes. I think he's looking at Pennell being like, you've been here before. Matt, you've been here before. Bernhardt, you've been here before. This is a legacy team. Let's go attack. That's it. I think it's simple. I don't think he's busting any jokes. I think he's very to the point and getting it done. But I think for you, Hoagie, from a Redwood standpoint,
Yeah.
like, what's Anthony Kelly bringing to the table?
Yeah, no, if I'm Anthony Kelly, I'm going to be like, all right, boys, we're playing our best ball of the year. We got three straight wins here. Everyone counted us out. No one's giving us any shot at anything. Guys, this is the moment we've been working for. We've been working for this team to click at this moment. Chase, I need you in net today. You made that big save in Boston. Your numbers, they've been up and down all year. You've been getting distracted by Pehlke doing all these dances, TikToks, videos. All we need is you to lock in today. Denenza, you were great last week. If you don't play well, Joe's putting you on the Placid team next year. You got to earn your spot back. We need you to
I
play
like
well
that.
again. And everyone else besides you, Chris, go out there, play, cause some havoc, go get to play your brother, go get to play the Outlaws in the semifinal, and then you beat your brother, and now everyone's saying, oh, Chris is the guy, not Pat. You go beat your brother, you win that award over him. And Malloy, keep being that villain arc, as everyone says. We go out there, we're going to win this thing. No one likes us. We're the Redwoods. Everyone thinks we suck, but we're coming for a championship. The Chaos, they suck. The Outlaws, we're going to ruin their party. And then we're going to be in Jersey, winning a championship. Everyone else, I don't know, Tevlin, I think you're an investment banker or something in the city. You tell me where the clubs are. We'll rent it out right after the game. We'll have a night. Let's go.
I like that. The clubs. That's a good point. That's a good point. I like that. Kev, if you are rocking with the Chaos, you're Colsey. I would have loved to hear you being Towers. But if you're Colsey, what are you saying?
I'd say, all right, Roy Colsey. I'd say, they say we're a team of no-names. There's this Italian podcaster who says, can't count out the Chaos, and then he picks against us.
Truth.
I think we do have names. Blaze Reardon, you're the only goalie I've ever seen who could set the record for saves and then bench yourself the next week. But I want you to play like you can set the record for saves this weekend. And then Jack Rowlett, I talked to the staff, talked to the ESPN production. They're going to mic you up so you act extra psycho this weekend.
I like
Jared
that.
Newman, I just want to remind you, long poles, I know they change a lot of rules in the league. Long poles are still allowed to cross midfield and shoot. You should do that. They didn't change that rule after 2019. Justin Anasio, the best midseason pickup I've ever made.
Truth.
We need
Buckeye.
someone in midfield. I don't know any of you in the midfield, but you look familiar. Were you the guy who scored 5 goals for Notre Dame in the semifinals at one time. We need something out of you. Something out of you. Can't remember your name. And then you two, you rookies. I don't even know what position you are. Owen and Jackson. I don't even know what position you are, but just go out there, switch it up. Play a different position each quarter. As long as you keep scoring goals, go out there. We're going to win this game. That's what I would tell the team.
I like that. I like the no-namers. I think it's the truth. We've talked about time and time again, the Chaos, bunch of having no-namers, but they have a chance to do it this year. But let's continue the conversation. We got USA chat, USA talk, women's chat. Number one respecter of women. We still don't know who that is on the show yet, so we're going to continuously find that.
Kev was staying up late watching all these games.
Yeah, Kev, bring us through what you saw in the Women's USA gold medal winning team.
Yeah. So,
all right.
what? Oh, which Kev?
He said Kev. All right. But you said number one respecter of women than Kev, so I just thought you guys were talking about
it's Kev. It's not. If I would have said number one respecter, I would have said Doogs.
Yeah.
That took me a second.
Kev has that crown right now. He does.
Yeah, he does.
Do you even know my name's Kevin?
Own
Do you
up.
even know my name's Kevin?
Own up.
Yeah,
What's my name?
Do you
What's my
miss
middle
Doogs
name?
with 2
What's my name?
zeros.
What's my name?
It's Kevin McSchlinken Dougal.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah. Great to have a pause right before we jump into the Team USA Women's great gold medal accomplishment. 16-8 win over Canada in the World Games. So this was sixes. This was in China. Charlotte North had a great series. Izzy Skane was there as well. Chloe Humphrey, youngest girl on the team. Marie McCool was the MVP. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from this is there's a problem on the international stage. USA's getting too good. We talk about the rivalry between Canada and the United States in lacrosse. In women's, it's non-existent. Even in box, where last fall they all played indoors for the first time, full equipment playing box, and USA just came out of nowhere and won gold and beat Canada. So I see it developing on the world stage that USA is just too good. Canada needs some WLL players. Where are they? But that's my big takeaway. They were switching goalies. Shea Dolce and Taylor Moreno both playing. They're switch goalies at half. And it's if you're switching goalies at half in the gold medal game, the talent disparity is just really is a problem.
I also think that with sixes coming, this is a take that I've had recently going off that. I think it's great for the men's league. I saw Trailer Park Sports kind of had a TikTok being sixes is bad. No, sixes is actually good for the growth of the sport because you just less players. You see a team like Japan who can come in and field 6 players and not 11. But the women's, I gotta move. The women.
I can jump in.
Oh God.
The women are going to
Doogs on the
destroy.
run.
Yeah, the women are going to destroy the sixes field.
Yes. I think that in the men's side, it really narrows the field. I think Canada has a leg up, at least the last time they played. But in the women's sixes, it's really not even close. And some of these girls are so good. Unfortunately, we don't get to see them at Champ Series, or didn't get to this last year because they're coaches, I assume. But Ellie Macera, who I know coaches at Notre Dame, Marie McCool, coaches at UNC. So they weren't available during Champ Series, but they played in the WLL All-Star game this summer. So they are WLL pros, but Ellie, Marie, if there's any way you can get a week and a half off in February next year, we want to see you at Champ Series.
Yeah, I agree. Anything to close us out, Hoagie?
No,
Chicks.
honestly, what?
Chicks?
Dukes, who was the women's lacrosse player you looked up to as a kid?
Wow, that's so tough. So many great ones. Probably Barbara Sullivan. I think she was my favorite player.
That's not a real person. He's trying to catch us.
2017, I think, National Women's Lacrosse Defensive Player of the Year. Look her up. She's probably one of the best women's defenders of all time. Mitch, you want to come press me one more time, brother?
Kevin, is that real?
No comment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's criminal to have that answer.
Do you want me to, here we go.
The one girls player I always remembered growing up was definitely Taylor Cummings. I feel like she was the big one when we were growing up, Mitch, in terms of stud.
No, 100%. It was. I mean,
Cummings was the Charlotte North of our growing up generation. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, Barbara
100%.
Sullivan. Yeah, was right. Look her up.
Oh, Garden City. Garden City. I mean, went to high school with her and puts her name in there, Mitch. I mean,
Yeah, it's criminal. It's criminal.
I didn't go.
God.
You asked me who I looked up to growing up. I mean, she played with my sister. She was an absolute stud. Followed her college career. She was in the WLL. She'd be like probably the best player right now. She locked down Taylor Cummings. She locks down Taylor Cummings.
Podcast here. We got U20 over there in South Korea about to get it going. I think they got it going.
Yeah.
We're filming this on Friday. They start pool play today.
This is your bread and butter.
Obviously, you guys are going to see this on Wednesday. So we're just going to talk about rosters here. Obviously, we can't talk about play because they're starting today. Looking at this roster, Hoagie, which players really excite you the most? And as you're going to dive in and watch some of these games the next couple days.
yeah, absolutely. I
And
mean,
what's
first
the
off
Jack
the bat,
Schultz?
we got 6 players from New York, 4 from Jersey, and only 1 from Virginia. So, yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
then one from Virginia, I'm pretty sure he played at Lawrenceville, so he's New Jersey as well.
Yeah, so 0 Virginia guys per usual on this
Jesus,
roster.
I was just trying to tee up for a nice segment. Not, hey, Mitchell,
But
you
no,
suck.
the guy I'm most excited to watch for is Jack Schultz. I know Doogs just said that from Ridgewood. He's a Ridgewood cat. I'm a Ridgewood. No, but Schultz was ultra productive, I thought, as a freshman this year. I think he did a great job as a second-line midfielder for them. I think he's going to be a great player for them moving forward. So I think he's a super athletic kid. I love watching him. I also love watching Brady Wambach. I think he's been pound for pound maybe the best Fogo in the country in terms of, face-off percentage and ability to win clamps. The last couple of years, I think he'll have the ability to be a stud. And I think look at the rest of the roster, like seeing a guy like Robbie Hopper, I'm excited to see him.
Yep.
I know he's a stud recruit in this grade.
100%.
And then just seeing Duff. I love watching Owen Duffy play, whether it's
I think one
college,
of the most
whether it's high
underrated
school.
guys on this list that is not so underrated anymore is Tim. We call him T. Shanahan out of Boston.
Yeah.
He is one of the most
Stud.
underrated guys. Had probably, I think, Inside Lacrosse rated him as like the best breakout freshman season this
Yes.
past year. A guy that could enter the transfer portal and really go to any school that he wanted, decides to stay there with his boys and continue to dominate up there in Boston. I'm excited to see him, filmed with him, had him out at my Connecticut Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Experience camp as a coach. Great with the kids, love his enthusiasm, but there's a ton of guys on here.
Dukes,
Kyle
what about
Foster,
Rhett
Ohio State
Chambers,
guy.
Dukes? Former Friar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rhett Chambers is going to be a name to watch out for. There's a couple other. I mean, even his teammate Stone Evans is going to be playing for Jamaica, and he kind of killed it the last. I think he was with the actual national team last time. But Mitch, I know that you're good with the high schoolers. Anthony Rayo, you want to touch on him a little bit, Pauls?
No, 100%. Great player. I think he's going to have an immediate impact down there at UNC. The class, this 2025 class going to UNC with Gary Merrill, Anthony Rayo, and a couple other studs. Like, they have the best class according to Inside Lacrosse. UNC is going to make a big push this year if they can figure out what to do with this freshman class. Obviously, incorporating them, this class with Owen Duffy, Petramala, and some of these guys, Anthony Rayo will be a star.
Look, a couple guys you haven't mentioned. I think Owen Duffy and Sean Light. Owen Duffy and Sean Light off the bat are the 2 star names here. Brendan Millen as well, I guess. But got to give a shout out to Anderson Moore, only guy from Alabama.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I think he'll probably be their starting goalie. I think he's better than Patrick Jamieson, but we'll see. And then I also want to give a shout out to Zach Ayashi, who I think not only is he kind of he's a great face-off athlete from Navy, but fits the bill for Team USA. I know he's like an emotional leader type, pregame speech, fiery guy. And I think he's the exact type of guy you would want to build a Team USA around.
100%.
Yep.
And another underrated player that I think even gets underrated in college, and I think he's going to really break out this year, is Colin Cardilla at Rutgers. He's been unbelievable for them the last couple of years.
Yes.
He's a stud offensive midfielder. I think he's going to be a breakout player on Team USA. I wouldn't be surprised if he's high up and leading the team in points and stuff like that. And people kind of are like, oh, Colin Cardilla, I know who he is, but didn't realize how good he is. He's a stud. I think he's going to be like a Shane Knobloch type player. First team All-American, second team All-American guy in college moving forward. He's a stud.
Yeah,
What I was going to touch
100%.
on.
I like that play.
Am I still pausing, or am I good?
No, you're good. You're better now.
What I was going to say is Anthony Rayo in this freshman class coming in for UNC is so critical to Joe Bresci and my hot seat argument with him. They're so good, and what they already have there at UNC at Chapel Hill right now, that if they don't make a Final Four, I'm going to even say win a championship, it's nothing but a huge failure. Like in the 2 years that you have Owen Duffy and this freshman class coming in, like you gotta win it.
Yeah.
I think one of the player that like I'm looking out for and I'm watching the closest is this like underrated defenseman out of Notre Dame, Sean Light. Nobody knows him. He's locked down like number one attackman for the past 2 seasons in South Bend. Nobody really knows him. Nobody talks about him. Just completely, I think, the most underrated, under the radar guy going into this.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting.
I think he's a name
Never
that
heard
everyone's
of him.
going to know about. Yeah, I think everyone
100%.
will learn his name by then. Well,
we named like the whole roster, so I feel bad if you're like the one guy who didn't get a shout out just now. But
I'm
Team
sure
USA,
that
I think
Team
they're going
USA.
to. I was looking at the other rosters, and like I think that maybe the
Swept
same
before.
thing is
It's-
developing.
yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I feel like USA is going to just dominate.
yeah,
dominate.
And if we didn't say your son's name, just DM Mitchell and just,
DM me
tell him how you
and-
feel.
Talk to
Yeah,
Mitch.
tell me, no, seriously. Send me a video, send me a cameo of how you feel. But now, let's hop into an interview with potentially the Adam Schefter of professional lacrosse, the PLL, Adam Lamberti. And now we welcome onto the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show, Adam Lamberti. Clap it up. Two-timer on the show. Friend of the program, Adam?
I would say so, yeah. Getting the second invite is definitely, that's a step up. The first invite, it's cool and all, but, the second one, feel very honored.
I feel very honored. It's kind of like a little Adam Schefter to Pat McAfee show. Adam Lamberti to the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show. Would you not say
Just
so?
compare yourself to. Did you just compare yourself to Pat McAfee?
I did.
I just want
I did.
to clarify.
Just
Yeah.
He
no,
just
you
said that
clarified.
live on air.
You clarified. I think we dive right into the fire.
Now we know what TLN's paying you.
Adam, your mock draft for next year, obviously way too early mock draft. That's what they're labeled as. A lot of our conversations, we have Spallina going number one. You have Eric Spanos going number one to the Archers. Why not Spallina, and why that overall pick before we dive in?
Yeah, I just think, obviously Spallina's a great player, but, kind of having conversations with Bates, not about this subject, but just about, their offensive philosophy. Spanos just strikes me as a guy that's, they have a lot of moving parts in the offense, right? Like Spallina, if you draft Spallina, where you're playing him. He's got to be, a vocal point of the offense. But, Spanos strikes me as a guy, it's okay, they have Schreiber, they have Fields is getting old. Spanos is a guy you can plug and play anywhere. And I know Doogs and I talked about this before, but he's a guy that you can put him at X, he can feed, but he's also really good finisher on the inside, can dodge a shorty from the wing, can kind of just do it all. So that's kind of the reasoning behind why I think the Archers could fall in love with a guy like Spanos.
Okay, I like that. Now, Hoagie, you're on the opposite end of this spectrum. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, to me, I just think Joey Spallina is the best true player in this draft. If we're going off best player, I love Spanos as a player, and I agree. He's a guy who I think can play both spots, right? He can play attack, and I think he can come out of the box, which we know in this league is huge, right? If you can't play midfield, you have a hard time staying on a roster unless you're one of the elite attackmen. So for me, just Joey Spallina, I think what he's done, his resume speaks for itself at 𝐓𝐄, but I think he's just the best overall player in this draft, not talking, D-mini or anything, talking straight offensive player. Who's been the stud, who's the guy that, I could see being a total superstar in this league. And I think Spallina, as a player and a prospect, has more upside than Eric Spanos does in, the long-term game. But, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Eric Spanos is the pick. We need a monster year at Maryland. I think he's going to have another monster year at Maryland this year. But for me, Joey Spallina is the number one pick in this draft.
I think
I
that's
kind
going
of-
to be a narrative, but
Yeah.
that's obviously going to be what people are saying. I don't think it's as runaway as the last two drafts.
Yes.
With Brennan O'Neill number one, CJ Kurse number one last year. Joey Spallina is very good. I'm a huge fan. I've been defending his game on this podcast on Twitter for a while. I don't think he's the surefire number one pick. And Adam, one thing I wanted to challenge you on that though, you think that Spanos provides a little more versatility than Joey though? I feel like Joey did a really good job in that Notre Dame game when he kind of became a crease guy. I'm curious if you think Joey needs to maybe be more that type of player, an off-ball third attackman type thing in the PLL.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think it's kind of the fit in the offense. That's why I kind of love him to the chaos, right? Because you got Iker on a wing, hilts on a wing, and Spallina can kind of be like that IQ passer from X, but he's also like Kevin, as you know, like super good around the cage, like very good handle around the cage. So him like filling that spot on an offense, I think is a good fit for him. So like I think to answer your question, like to me, like it comes down to, you know, the personnel around him on the field. Like, you know, if he goes to a team that I don't know, already has like a dominant ball carrier, say like the Cannons for whatever. Like we know Nolting's going to get a lot of those touches. It's kind of just like who he's playing around with, and I think that is the good thing about Spallina. Like he doesn't have versatility in the sense of like attack midfield. Like I think he's a true attackman, but he has versatility in like, you know, he can be a finisher, he can be a dodger, and he can just be like a passer like when you need him to be.
But Spanos offers a little more versatility in terms of like he could play midfield, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think
Gotcha.
like it's like the Archers will probably have some reshuffling in the next few years, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And like Spanos is just kind of a guy like you can put him anywhere. And I also think like a broader point too. It's like this is like one of the first drafts where like I think there's literally like 10 players that could go number one. Like even Hoagie, like Bobby Van Buren, like I could see the Archers falling in love with him. You know, Graham Hossick's getting older, Warren Jeffries getting older. Like I don't think anyone would be that shocked. At least I wouldn't be if like Archers pick like a defender at one if they just fall in love with their guy. It's a very much like get your guy draft, at least early on it looks like.
I mean, one thing I always talk about in my stance is I don't see a world where Joey's not playing for his father. And do you think that's true at all?
If you're asking me, I mean, we'll have to see after the playoff game. Like, I guess if they lose, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
The possibility to get Joey. But I do think, like, the Archers picking one, like, I think they'd be available to a trade back. And, I mean, we all know the team that would be probably most aggressive in going up to try to get Joey. And
Yes.
honestly, I'd like that fit, too. Like, not just his father, but, like, you got Chris, you know, Chris Kavanaugh, obviously, and they just have a lot of young midfielders. And I also think, like, something as we said, like, all the young midfielders and the guys on the team, they're all ACC guys. So I think, like, they all know their games.
Kind of flows together.
Like, I saw that, like, watching Kavanaugh and McAdory was so fun, and I think, like, them competing against each other, like, in a way kind of helps. Like, they know each other's games. Like, they've been watching each other for 4 years. So, Joey.
Definitely. And we chatted about this as well, Atan. Let's say Joey bumps to the Redwoods pick, right? Joey's playing attack. Who are you bumping from that attack line to the midfield line?
I think if you have to pick, like, if you're looking at the future, it's got to be Malloy, and I just think, like, they play similar styles.
That's what I was thinking.
But, like, and it's just hard to justify. I mean, Malloy's been so fun to watch this year. He's been so productive. And, but I also think, like, you can play Joey out of the box, like, at least for the first year. He's kind of, like, can, like, learn from, like, Malloy, Kavanaugh. But I think, like, in the long run, like, that's the guy that, like, Joey's going to occupy his spot.
100%.
I think it would be one of the worst decisions for Spallina to do.
What?
To draft Joey or to make the switch?
If you're Big Joe and you have this team, this roster you put together that like makes it to, let's just say they make it, let's say they make it to the championship, and you got this core of Chris Kavanaugh, Ryder, and Dylan Malloy who have basically backpacked your offense the entire year, and you're telling the entire team after that, like, yeah, that was really good, but I'm going to go get my son. Like, that just seems like a message that gets sent to the locker room. And, like, you're going to probably overpay for little Joey. Like, if you're going to trade up, like, you're going to have to trade up. Bates knows you want to trade up. Like, that just seems like a nightmare nepotism situation.
Yeah, exactly. I know what
Like,
you mean, and I think there's going
the
to
only
be
thing I'm
like,
worried about.
oh, if you would do anything to go get Joey Spallina, he's that franchise game changer. Okay, that means you're probably going to have to move a piece that was like a core piece of what they built this year. And if you remember, when we had him on, he was kind of talking about some of the trades and stuff. He tried to focus all the trades that they made, like Owen Grant, guys who like didn't really play, didn't have an established part of the locker room. I think that's going to be tougher than he thinks. Like when whoever it is, Bates, says a name, like, yeah, sure, you can trade up. Andrew McAdory.
And also one
that's
thing
what I
just to touch on is like Joe Spallina's not in that locker room.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Kelly is. Like that would also, like, that would make a an interesting relationship to trade one of those core players or push down one of these core players that we were just talking about. Like, he might be playing at an MVP level, like him and Chris Cav, the two MVPs.
I think Trader Joe would. The only thing in return he could get for young Joey, is one of those key name players. So I only see it being one of the guys Adam just mentioned, like a Chris, like a Dylan, whoever that is. If we're talking trade.
I personally don't think there's any way there's a trade for Joey Spallina. I think the only way he ends up in the Redwoods is if he slides to a spot where the Redwoods can take him. I don't see any way that a team is going to give up enough to trade for him. And I agree with Doogs. I think in a way it looks bad as the GM and running a team who's had some success this year to just trade anything or maybe give away more than they should just because other teams know that it's Joey on the line here, trading more than they should to go get Joey. I personally don't see it. I think the only way that he was going to end up on the Redwoods is going to be if the Woods had the 1 pick, which it looked like for some part of the year when they were on that skid, or if potentially Joey falls like Chris Kavanaugh did in the draft this year where Joey and the Redwoods can pick him up. I don't see any way that the Redwoods go from like the 5th or 6th pick up to 1 or 2 to take Joey this year. I really personally don't see that at all. And I don't think Joe's going to risk the locker room to do it.
We talk about it too, like the GMs are a great thing for this league because there's no personal relationships. Like you don't have any hard feelings like cutting a guy after like he gets too old or whatnot. But like it is a little weird when you're like everyone else is looking. It's like all right, like they just made the championship, and you just got your son. It's like well, nobody could have predicted this.
Yeah.
Especially after the season Malloy had. I mean, he led the league in goals. He's been a stud all year long. I think for me, but it sounds like Malloy could be an easy guy out if there was Joey there. But to me, I'd rather run Garnsey, I think, out of the box as a midfielder. Fits more, and keeping Dylan Malloy down there would be my opinion.
I don't think so.
Dylan Malloy won the inaugural Kevin Boyle puts the ball in the back of the net award.
That should be an award.
Kev, I'm curious to hear your thoughts here. Do you think Joey ends up on that team, or do you think he's going forward to the Chaos?
Look, I'm kind of on the same boat with Hoagie here in the sense that, I think it's way more likely that he falls into the California Redwoods lap, and it's like, well, what was I going to do? Not draft my son? He fell right into my lap. Because I told you, and I agree with Adam. I don't know if there's 10 guys who can go number 1 overall, but I think there's a lot of guys who can mix up the top of this draft order, and I don't think Joey is a lock to 1. Here, though, is a scenario. What if the California Redwoods and the Philly Water Dogs, for example, both lose? And so, maybe the Redwoods they'll be 4 or whatever. Maybe they can't leap up to 1 or 2, but what if we get to draft day and Joey doesn't go number 1 and then he doesn't go number 2 and then the Water Dogs are on the clock and they obviously don't need another attackman, and then all of a sudden they're kind of just in a spot where there's a draft day trade where all California needs is to jump up 1 spot, and the Water Dogs are like, they're in the other conference, like what do we care if we help them get their guy if we can get an extra draft pick out of it, and we know he'll still be available because we're just flipping picks. That's free money. So that's how I could see it happening or unfolding on draft day. But as far as like the Redwoods jumping the order all the way to like top number 1 from like 6 or 7 or wherever they may be at the end of the day, I don't see that happening.
100%. Yeah. No, I feel you. And let's keep the draft going.
The Water Dogs, by the way, should draft Joey Spallina in that situation.
You think? You wouldn't use it as leverage?
No, I'm the biggest McCardle guy ever, but like if you do have the chance, I do think that Joey playing alongside like CJ and Michael Sowers, and he could play off ball. He's played with like very ball dominant players and Brendan O'Neill, Andrew McAdory on Team 91.
Kevin, talk to him.
I do think
Kevin,
it very much intrigues me, Mr. Boy. It intrigues me, Mr. Boylard.
I mean, look, I love Joey as a maybe good off-ball player in the PLL. I know that he's better than what I know in Jake Taylor. I don't want to say anymore. Like, we're talking next year about how do we fit Jake Taylor on the offense? How do we fit Jake Taylor at the attack? I don't want to have to do that again next year. So.
Let's just
Kevin Jake Taylor are the biggest bromance.
Jake Taylor is better than Joey Spallina.
At a crease attack. If we were talking about a crease attackman, yes, I would rather have Jake Taylor than Joey Spallina. Because if we have CJ Kirst and Michael Sowers, there is no room for Joey Spallina to be the dodging quarterback at X at that point.
Yeah, let me hop in here too. I think what Doogs is saying too is like, I don't know. I'm not convinced that like Joey Spallina can be like the guy on an offense. I don't think he can be like the top option. And I know that's going to be like controversial. That's just where I stand on it. I know like people will come at me with like statistics and stuff, but like I think like a water dog situation would be good for him. That's why I like him in Carolina along Hiltz. Like I think that he has like so many tools to be like a very, very good, like I don't want to say complimentary piece because I mean that with like respect, but like that's kind of my point in having him like not as like the clear cut top one, like the top prospect.
Adam, got a spicy little follow-up on that. After seeing what the Carolina Cavs have done with Owen Hiltz this year, has that changed your perspective at all of Syracuse's accomplishments and maybe Joey Spallina as his like 1-2 punch?
I mean, I like, yeah, losing Owen Hiltz is like, it's going to hurt Syracuse.
No, that's not what I mean. Well, yes, that is, I mean, should Joey Spallina and Syracuse have accomplished more with Owen Hiltz when he was there? Like, does it make you think less of Joey Spallina as a facilitator that we never saw this version of Owen Hiltz at Syracuse?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. And I think, I don't know. I think just specifically last year, it was fun watching them. I think that, like, Hiltz was I know Hiltz has probably impressed all of us like as a Dodger, and I think like his skill set is just like suited for the PLL. Like he's kind of that quicker Dodger, but like not really. I mean, Syracuse made the Final Four for the first time in what, like 11 years, I want to say.
Yeah. Okay.
This past year, Spallina had 4-4 against Princeton.
I just feel like we've never seen this version of Owen Hiltz, and I'm wondering if he should have been more of a ball-dominant player at Syracuse, and was Joey Spallina kind of like scarfing up those reps?
Wow.
Yeah, like maybe, but I think like that just happens on any team where you got like, I mean, even think about Syracuse's midfield. They had English, Leo, Luke Roa. Like they have 6 players that can like carry the ball. So like I just think that's going to happen on any team.
Facts. Kev, anything from that?
No. I honestly have, I mean, we can keep going on Spallina, but I have some questions about Spanos and Maryland as well.
Do it.
Let's get to
hit it, Kev. Let's go.
Yeah,
Say with your chest. Let's go.
You have Spanos at number 1, and I'm just curious, like what you think he would have to do to rise up the board and secure that spot. And because they got other talent coming in. I noticed that Kark has them ranked a lot higher than you, and the 2 guys from Yale, and Chris Lyons and Leo Johnson. Look, one of those guys or all those guys are going to rise because we know that Maryland's going to be there. They're a favorite to go back to the championship game at least this year. Those guys are going to be scoring goals. So what do you think what will separate Spanos from those other guys, and why aren't you as high as Kark on those guys?
I think, like, obviously we know they're good players. I don't think they had their greatest years at Yale last year. And it's also going to be, like, coming down to like the fit in the Maryland offense. Like as we know, like Maryland's offense is very, very like cutthroat. It's like you play our style.
Like this or not, yeah.
You play like this or you're not touching the field. So I think like that's my initial hesitancy. But like you said, like assuming they fit in and they're productive, like they could rise. I just think Spanos too. It's like I don't think it's just production. Like obviously he's like been the best offensive player for like the runner-up Turpins, but like I mean you look at him, he's like 6'5", I don't know, 200 pounds. Like he moves really well. Like he's a physical dodger, but he can also like dodge in space. Like just like watching him on film, he has all the tools. I know Mitch and Hoagie, you guys played against him. Like he's just like poses kind of as a matchup problem. And like I said, I know I keep saying the same thing, but like he can like dodge a shorty, he can play attack. Like he just fits a lot of ways, for the Archers specifically at the top of the draft.
Yeah, but Spanos was always going to be a matchup problem with 2-5 stuck on the defensive end.
Hell no, I'm shifty. I'm getting him.
Mitch is I remember how we defended him.
We put a long pull on him.
Van Buren style. But I like, Adam, what you're saying because it is true, and I like where you're coming from. You can put Spanos anywhere. I do think, though, Spallina can take over a team. I'm a big proponent in when Joey Spallina is done playing the sport of lacrosse, he will have scored the most goals out of anyone throughout his whole entire career, youth to pro. But I think to your point about Spanos, like I agree with you, but I just think it's hard because I don't think it's hard because obviously Joey's going to drop, I think, to his father, but at the same time, like I get where you're coming from. I think the thing that I'm interested in is probably Joey going to the Chaos. Like, why do you think that fit? And obviously Owen Hiltz, the connection with Syracuse, is that the biggest reason, or do you think that's the Chaos' biggest hole?
I think a little bit of both. I think that third attack spot for the Chaos has kind of been like up and grabs. I know like Zawad has played well in that role, but I think they can elevate like the guy in the spot. I know Kevin's point about like him playing with Hiltz. Like, I think it'll work, especially in the faster paced PLL. And like, I don't know, like I feel like that's being at X. You got Iker on the right, Hiltz on the left. Like that's the space where Joey wants to operate. And like I said, he can do a lot of those things. Like not only feed from X, but like he can finish in tight. He's a good dodger in those areas. So I don't know. I just like the fit.
Okay, interesting.
I do think that I haven't touched on the Spanos thing yet. I do think that Spanos could be the biggest riser in the draft as well. Just I think he's the most pro-ready body, and Adam kind of like touched on that a little bit. Like, I do like his landing spot and what he has to offer. I do not think this is locked up. I think there's a couple fits. I think I'm trying to think of the word. I think there's just like a couple fits that just like might work better. And I think that's really like what's interesting about the PLL. You'd be like, oh, this guy's the top prospect, but it's like, is that the right fit? Like even when we went back to Schellenberger, O'Neal a couple years ago, we were talking about like, oh, Denver needs a quarterback. Like, is it Shelley? And I know like a lot of us at the time were like on Shelley, but they just went with who they thought was the best player in the draft. Sometimes you just also have to not overthink it and just get the best player and like see what happens. So like if you do think it's Joey, get Joey. But I still think the best player in the draft is Aiden McGuire, and I think number 2 is Will Donovan.
Should the Archers just take McGuire and have a short stick D midi room of McGuire?
Hold on. Adam, he's still number 1 on your board. I know he was after the draft, right?
Oh yeah, I think he's probably number 1 on like a lot of people's. I would say.
Aiden.
I just like the Archers D midi room so much. I think they don't.
So,
Piper Vaughn, Bo Pettersson, and Connor Marley.
Let me go
stack
off
that up
this
against
reason.
anyone.
I don't think you should ever be comfortable though. Like that's like if you have a
Hell
good old.
yeah.
I think the short stick D midi though too is like a little it's a little short. Like if you can go get a stud like Aiden McGuire, and you clearly think that there's an importance of having a short stick team, like a great short stick team middies in the league. Like go get the best one out there. Like if that's the important thing to you. Like there's a lot of good offensive players every year. Like you see like a Sam King drop, and now he's like one of your best attackmen, he probably was your best attackman this year.
I also think like the lifespan of a short stick defensive midfielder at their elite level might be the shortest at any position.
Yeah,
right. Like Connor, Connor Moore is really good, but he's almost my age. Like,
you're gonna get his brother's girlfriend DM.
Doogs.
You promise?
I think Spallina though, Spallina is going to be a guy too, as a face of a franchise though, and I think that's another piece of it. He's going to be the guy that a lot of kids have the jerseys on every single weekend. He's going to be the guy who's on the face of your graphics, who's on the face of your team as a Redwoods guy.
A thumbnail last week.
Thumbnail.
Yes.
I think that carries weight in terms of having a superstar in this league on your team for years to come. And, I think an underrated part about Joey is a lot of times people say he's a little small, or, that iconic clip where he was like, oh, I guess they say I can't dodge, all that stuff. He loves lax. He lives, breathes, and dies lacrosse. He's always going to put in the work. He's always going to have lacrosse first in his life, which I think you can't understate enough. A lot of these guys are great players on the field, but I don't know how many of these guys, what jobs certain guys have, what their true love of the game really is long term. I know Joey's a guy who wants to be in the league for 10 plus years, and he's going to put in that work to be in the league for 10 plus years. And to me, having a guy like that in this type of league really goes a long way.
Yeah, Adam. I mean, obviously, he had that iconic clip being well, I guess I can't dodge. And I'm just wondering from your analysis, how many points did he have the next game in in the Final Four? Because clearly,
yeah, he had 1.
Does that factor in at all into his draft stock?
No. I mean,
I was just
obviously-
joking.
I can't. I think it's hard to compare it though because the college and the PLL game are so different. That's why I feel like you see a lot of guys who go from college to the pros and are better than they were in college, or some guys who go from college to the pros who are not as good as they were in college, just because the gameplay is different, the shot clock's longer, the flow of the game is slower. So some players like Owen Hiltz might have been held back by the way that Syracuse played offense, the way the offense ran, and then you come in the PLL where you're running 30-second shot clocks, it's run and gun, let's play ball, roll the ball on the carpet, and he is way more loose, way more unlocked than he was at Syracuse. So, I don't think necessarily, Tillman and Maryland had Schaller and all those guys, and A.J. Larkin, they probably had a dialed game plan for Spallina in that semifinal game, and he had 1 point. I think in the pros, Spallina's not going to get the top guy off the bat, right? He's going to be able to play more free. He's going to be able to move around more. So I don't think you can look too much into comparing college performances.
I have a hot take.
What's
I
up?
think I have
What
a hot
else is
take.
new?
You've been actually Mr. Hot Takes recently, Kev.
Yeah, and I like it. I like it. Kev, stand up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Turn your pedal.
Stand on
Kev,
business.
honestly, I haven't even dropped one recently. I haven't had one all summer.
What do you got, Doogs?
Besides, I guess the Water Dogs one. But I think that Syracuse plays too unselfish, and I think that for the people that they recruit, they have to actually be a little bit more selfish. While Maryland recruits the exact type of guys that work in unselfish play, exactly what you're kind of talking
Yes,
about.
I completely
Spanos.
agree with that.
And it was kind of a revelation that I had the other day,
No,
because
it's a
even
great take.
and I think Spallina will be a better pro than he is college player, and he's a great college player.
I think he's going to be an elite NLL player.
Yeah, he's
I
been
do too,
killing it in
Kevin. That's
box.
why-
I see a clip from him every day
So you
on
think he
Twitter.
could play? You think he could play in tight corners and inside and stuff?
Yeah, which is why I do believe in him.
So he
as
should
an
be on the
all-
water. So Water Dogs.
Oh my gosh. I don't think he can do it better
I'm
Kev,
getting
what are you going
nervous
to
at my
Jake
Water
Taylor?
Dogs.
I don't know if he's going to be on that Water Dog squad come next season. Just with the roster lineup. How it shapes out. That's your guy.
He's gonna be on
go
Team
there right
Frogs.
Yeah.
He's gonna be on
Yeah,
Team
he'll be on
Frogs
Team
next
Mitch,
year.
we
Fairfield
take Jake
Frogs.
Taylor on Team Frogs.
Fairfield Toads. But Adam, I want to keep moving down the list. I think Will Schaller going to the Whips is
Stud.
probably pretty standard.
Stud.
Maryland to Maryland connection. We've seen it time and time again. I'm going to talk about Matt Collison. I feel like he was so not in the radar, not in the headlines last year with just how Hopkins' team performed. That guy's got a cannon. I think he's a big producer in the PLL. Where do you see him, obviously, going in the draft? You have him at 6, but is he trending upward or downward? And is it really depend on this year for Matt?
I don't think it depends on this year. I don't think Hopkins is going to be great again, and I think that's going to hurt him as a midfielder. But he's been very good. It's also we talked about Spanos. I remember watching Collison as a freshman, and you're holy shit, this guy's 6'4", just taking people to rack as a freshman, and nothing's changed since then. He's had I think he's had the same amount of points basically for all 3 years. And personally, I was thinking about Mikey Weishauer to the Redwoods at 6, and I'm thinking what do they need? It was kind of the last midfield spot was up for grabs with Sam Hanley. They traded for Sam Hanley, and then Bertrand. So I'm I think Collison kind of fits the mold and would probably be an upgrade as a more physical presence, because you got McAdory, English, Balkersell. You got so much speed on that midfield, and then you think of adding a guy like Collison, that brings a that physical element to it.
Interesting.
I love Matt Collison as a midfielder. And yeah, last year was weird because it felt like he had a down year. He literally had the same amount of points, 33 points.
Yeah.
The difference was just 2024, he had 2-3 game-winning clutch goals where you have the flashbulb memory of him taking over and scoring a big goal in a big moment. And then last year, Hopkins was just bad, and you'd see, oh yeah, he had 2 goals and an assist, but they lost the game to Rutgers.
Yeah, Adam, I love Bobby Van Buren to the Outlaws at number 8. Obviously, like you said, an aging Mike Manley and Bernhardt back there. And to me, having played with Bobby, he's kind of one of those guys who, magic feet. He's kind of he kind of glues onto you on a one-on-one on-ball defender. He's an unbelievable player. I think he's going to be a great pro. But another Ohio State guy that I think is a stud and going to rise up draft boards is Colin Brown. I think in terms of his ability to run up and down the field in the PLL today, where you got to kind of run and gun, he's a college turnover machine. I believe he led the country in college turnovers last year. I'd love to know your thoughts on Colin Brown kind of as a prospect moving into next year.
Yeah, let me see. Let me look at the board. He's on the board. I think he's pretty high on the board. He's 16 on the board.
16.
And this was like published, I don't know, in May. So like subject to change. But like, yeah, you said, I think he was like one of the league leaders in like calls turnovers, and like, you know, is a guy like can play LSM, can like probably play close defense, probably more productive as an LSM just because like the way he can move up and down the field. But like, I don't know, there's a lot of Ohio State guys. I think
Hoagie, you can't let him get away with having Bobby Van Buren as his third poll off the board, though.
Yeah, no, I know.
We were going to get into it. We
No,
wanted to hear his case first.
Yeah, I mean, I
We're
said
talking about Cullen Brown.
I said I love Bobby. I think he was like my favorite guy one-on-one defensive wise. But it is interesting that last episode I said that Will Schaller was my favorite underrated draft prospect, and then I looked at Adam's mock draft and he had him at 5. So I was like, I love Schaller as a prospect as
But
well.
now
I think
he's overrated,
who?
according to you.
Who
Would you
is?
take Bobby Van Buren over Will Schaller?
Yes, I would take Bobby Van Buren over
Yes.
Will Schaller. I think for his one-on-one
wouldn't.
ability, I think Bobby, the one game I think he needs to work on is like his stick skills and carrying the ball. I think he's good at that, but he can get that even better. But I don't think you can teach Bobby's ability, speed-wise, athleticism-wise, his ability to cover one-on-one ball and stay sticky on you is unlike anything I've seen. I know it still causes Mitch nightmares to this day in practice. When Bobby was guarding him, Mitch couldn't run away from him, so like he would just clamp him up.
I was
but
shifty dog. No, but I agree with Hoagie. Like I would take him. Obviously, a little biased since we're Ohio State guys, but with that stature, that build, I mean, talk about a lax rat too. That guy is on the field putting in
Lax
extra
rat,
work
yeah.
every single
Loves
day.
the game.
And a guy that, I know Pehlke talks about it. We've had some chats with Adam last show, but like a guy that wants to stick with this sport. And I feel like, I forget who just said it. Maybe it was Kyle Hartzell on the last show, but like if you want to be great at lacrosse, what's the next thing you want to tell this next generation? They're like, stick with the sport of lacrosse. Be in it from a work perspective. Get the more reps. And I think, not to say Will's not going to do that, but I know Bobby is going to stick with it.
Bobby's also like the most athletic kid I've ever seen in my lacrosse career playing wise. Like if you watch him run and jump, it looks like he's like has like springs on his shoes. Like I would jump and like my foot would barely get off the ground and he's like halfway in the air. Mitch, when we did that springboard test where we were doing the jumps, it was
He's like
dude,
floating.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But Adam, for you, like, why the pick to have obviously Will and both Wills to go before Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, I debated on it. I could honestly see like any order you want. The Cannons need close defense. Like they were not good, especially at the close defense position. So like, I gave them Will Donovan because I'm like, I thought they should have done this year is like move Owen Grant down. Like he's probably your best cover pull. Like he shouldn't be playing LSM. He should be on the top guy, at attack. So like I think Will Donovan's a stud. He's been doing it for 4 years, or going to be doing it for 4 years at Notre Dame. But I don't know. I could see them taking Van Buren or Schaller, like someone that can slot and play immediately in the close defense. I don't know. Order's not a huge deal to me. That was just kind of what my gut instinct was.
Mitch,
Order.
also, Schaller to the Whip Snakes just makes sense with the
I
Maryland
have,
trio, a bunch of Terps on that team. Like, how is Schaller not going to end up a Whip Snake?
Yeah.
I think Schaller is probably the best because I think just like defensively, how we talk about like crease attackman versus like quarterback attackman, I do think that Schaller, and I think he offers more versatility at the defensive end than maybe Bobby. Like just like off ball, I also just trust Maryland defenders probably a little bit more than Ohio State, and that's like not even like a shot either. I think it just goes to like the system that Jesse Bernhardt's made. One defender that I'm in love with, and I don't know if I'm just like kind of having this recency bias or it's just like a Doogs just favorite player that like I'm like he'll be an all-star. Hunter Smith from Richmond. Do you think that there's any shot he could ever become the first poll taken?
Hunter Smith?
Or do you think it's like just the Richmond effect?
No. I'm going to say no, like kind of comfortably, but he's going to be like a first or second rounder, I think. I mean,
And he should just be happy with that. Like, there's no shot like he could jump.
I don't want to say no shot because like you're setting me up for failure, dude. But like,
That's exactly what I'm supposed to do, though.
Yeah.
but like I can't.
We're
say
supposed to go to the producer next year and be like, remember when Adam said there was no shot? And then it's like,
And then we
Hunter
put the
Smith, number
flashback
3
in.
pick.
Yep.
He would have to do
Wow.
something crazy.
And they're like, Dukes, great job cornering.
You'd have to
Adam.
be like, you have Van Buren and Schaller, and I think Will Donovan are all first team All-American. Like, they're all first team all American polls, and then you got like a guy like Billy Dwan too, like Alex Ross at Penn State. I think is very, very good too. It's a very good defensive class. So like I just think it'd be hard for him.
You
Okay,
also
buddy,
have to
then-
think of when the draft occurs and like when Richmond plays any games that anyone is watching.
Yeah.
100%. I guess my take then that I was like kind of going off of is if he played for Maryland, he'd easily be the number 1 poll taken off the board.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah, but that's life too, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just how it
What
goes.
if you go to Maryland, you're the number 1 pick?
Well, it's like
Yeah,
going to
he's got
Ohio
the-
State
he's
or
got the
Alabama
he's
for
got the Maryland
football
logo.
compared to like going to
He's got the Maryland
Marshall.
logo
Yeah.
back in him.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. I think
Adam,
that, like,
Adam, what?
I think he's such a Spallina pick to me.
Yeah, I could see that 100%. Adam, what's one guy right now that you think is probably going to end up being a 3rd or 4th round pick, kind of like a Ben Ramsey, a Sam King, who you think could be a starter pretty immediately, or if not, a huge contributor on one of these big teams that's gotten in one of the later rounds?
I'm not just catering to you guys, but I think you said he's returning for a 5th year. Alex Marinier.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is.
I just think like if a team needs a righty shooter, like he is just so like I kind of one landing spot I really want to see Marinier is with the Cannons. Like Marcus Holman doesn't have. I probably shouldn't have too much time left, and like just imagine Marinier like on that righty wing, like he's just a guy like you put him in the right system, he's gonna have 20 goals. He's kind of reminds me of Jackson Eicher.
Yeah.
I know you guys can probably speak more to it, but like he's a guy I've been like watching a good amount. I don't know how much he'll rise, but it's a Colgate midfielder. Hunter Druin has just like caught my eye a few times, like watching tape. Just like definitely a guy like people don't really know about, but you watch him, he's just like very, very productive for a midfielder. Kind of a smaller guy, but just super quick. Kind of like has similar like playing style to like Mikey Weishauer out of Towson, and Weishauer would probably be like a 1st, 2nd rounder, but I think Hunter Druin's a guy to watch out for too.
I feel like people either believe or don't believe in Mikey Weishauer.
Yeah, you're either in or out. I agree.
Why
Kev.
is that, you think, Adam?
I mean, probably because of his like size. Like he's not that big, obviously, and it's also like I do think like we just talked about Hunter Smith being at Maryland. It's like Mikey Weishauer like does go to Towson. Like if he were on like probably like an ACC Big Ten, like he's getting a lot of notoriety and rightfully so. He's a great player, but it's like.
But everyone thinks he's a midfielder and he scores a lot of points at attack.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably more suited as a midfielder. I mean, you just think of his speed. Like I just think that's more of an asset in the PLL. It's like a lot of players can score at attack, but like when you have like an Andrew McAdory style like player coming out of the box like full speed, I think we just saw how much that opens up the offense. So that's why I would draft him as a midfielder.
I just think it shapes the way people think about you. People say, who's this midfielder with 60 points? That's insane.
Yeah.
Casuals.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Kev,
yeah.
Kev, just
but
call him it. Call him it.
I'm not
Right.
saying he's a guy. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think Mikey Weishauer is in a unique position. I think he's a little overhyped from a PLL draft perspective.
Why do you say that?
Because of what I just said. I just think that he scores a lot of out of context points that are like people think are mind blowing. Like the same player with the same points in the same conference, who's an attackman, who was like the Stony Brook guy who played in Champ Series this past year, Palinetti. What isn't it? Yeah, had insane point totals, but people were like, attackman is Stony Brook. But it's like
I mean,
when
it
you're
goes
filling
back
out
to
your
Brandon.
All-American bracket or All-American votes, and you're like, oh shoot, I need a midfielder. You're like, who's a midfielder with the most points? Oh, Mikey Weishauer. Mikey Weishauer, write him in.
Yeah.
Even though he's an
Yeah.
attackman.
Huh. I got one. What about Will Angrick?
He's good. He's just like a
Could he be one of those late round picks that you think
Yeah.
like comes?
totally. He's good. Like he's.
I like
just
him better than Weishauer. I'm kind of with Kev, but I've also been wrong about this. Like, I can't watch every single game of every single prospect. Like I just I'm watching like some like 4 or 5 Army games a year. Like can't watch like every single one, especially with like these like lax paywalls. I had this thing with Emmett Carroll. Like every single game I watched Emmett Carroll play was like maybe the worst career game he's ever had. So I was like, this guy sucks. I was like, I just do not see it. And like now in the PLL, I'm like, oh wait, this is what I've been missing. I was like, this guy's so good. And Mikey Weishauer is like kind of that guy for me. I feel like I've seen him play one game where I was like, whoa, this dude's the real deal. So like, my mind is kind of skewed to that. I guess to like try to sell me on it, because I saw Rusty. It was like he's a franchise-altering player. That's what he said.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I feel like a lot of these conversations, like, I don't know what it is. The past is with a ton of these prospects in the draft. It's like Spallina, Weishauer, I don't know, a few more. It's like I feel like people are either like so high on him or like so low, and like the reality is it's probably going to be like a middle ground. Like Mikey Weishauer is not going to be a franchise-altering player, but he's also not going to be like a bust. Like,
I think he can absolutely make
midfielder.
He can absolutely make a PLL roster. I would not describe him as a franchise-altering player.
100%.
He was clutch. He had a couple really clutch games this year, though. But
like,
yeah,
the thing is there a franchise-altering player in the draft? Like, I don't think so. At least early on. I know we still have 9 months. I know where this is going.
Time will tell.
With the right team.
That's just my take on it.
I think there's a bunch.
Do you
of,
think a short stick D midi can be that role?
Oh yeah, I guess
you think so?
Yeah, I mean,
he's the best athlete.
I don't think so. And Kev obviously just said that, but he might be the best athlete. But playing that position, can you really be that role where you're changing a franchise? I think you have to be an offensive player.
Time out. Sorry, Adam. Look at Danny Logan. Look at Ryan Tarafanko. They were both drafted in 2020 and literally carry those franchises as like the faces of the franchises, arguably.
I don't know. It's hard to
two captains.
No.
They're not the face of a franchise. Danny Logan is not the face.
They're the captains.
Yeah, but you can be the
100%.
captain of a roster. You're not the face of a franchise. Half the kids on the stands don't even know who Danny Logan is. He's not the face of the
100%.
franchise.
That's wrong.
That's not
Dude,
wrong.
that is
Doogs.
not
That is
wrong.
crazy,
Doogs is right.
Doogs.
That is not.
That is
wrong,
you guys are crazy.
Brian Tarafanko, you're gonna go down.
Brendan
as one of the
O'Neill,
best
Pat
to ever do
Kavanaugh,
it,
Jared Byrne.
and I guarantee you, half the people in the stands do not know Terry.
I think that's really disrespectful to Ryan Tarafanko.
You can say that those
now
guys
I know
are
why he doesn't want to call it a podcast.
You guys can say that those guys are leaders in the locker room and leaders for the team, but they're not faces of the team. The face of the team is Brendan O'Neill. The face of the team
You're
is
talking
Jeff
about.
T. Connor Schellenberger.
You're thinking of it like as like the league commissioner, as like the locker room.
Yeah, that's what face of the team, face of the league is. Face of the team is
from the player's perspective. From the coach's
but that's not like the face of the team. That's like the guy in the locker room. You could say that. That's not the face of the team. So your term is wrong.
If you want to look at it from like a league like marketing perspective, go for it. But I'm looking for it from like play on the field.
Yeah, but that's
when you're talking about a franchise-altering player, are you talking about how many fans know him or how he's respected in the locker room? Doogs is 100% right.
Franchise-altering is different. You said face of a franchise. When you hear face of a franchise, that's the guy whose uniforms sold in the thing. That's Patrick Mahomes.
I think Kev knew exactly what I was saying.
I knew exactly what you meant.
I think, and then you guys saw like a little creak in the argument, and you guys just tapped it.
And secondly, to Mitch's overall point that short stick defensive midfielders aren't worth it, I think they're
I didn't say that.
Keep going, Kev.
They're
even worth it. Jesus.
They're even more valuable in the PLL. They're one of the only positions that their value increases as you go from college to
100%.
pro because of the role they play, the shortened midfield, and in a lot of ways, a guy like Ryan Tarafanko is your first line of offense. He's a short stick defensive midfielder. But look at his point total this year. Him and Jake Pacino, I think, have combined for 20 points. So in the PLL, your rope unit is your first line of offense.
Kev, I think that Mitch, what we're seeing in real time, Mitch, tell me if I'm wrong. We're seeing like PTSD flashbacks of these short stick that he's just absolutely bodying.
No, Adam said face of the franchise, and Mitch was like,
Last week, man. It's a little backstabbish, a little bit, just taking words out of my mouth that I didn't even say.
Mitch, I got you on this. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. What's going on,
Mitch? I heard you say
I think, Mitch, what you were trying to say is like a guy like 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐑𝐿 is not going to be the guy who's like the
who was midfielder of the year as a short stick defensive midfielder. That's insane.
He can be the
biggest
guy in your locker room, biggest leader, biggest working hard guy. But like when I hear face of the franchise, I think what Mitch is alluding to is like half the kids in the league are going to have no idea who 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐑𝐿 is next year, even if he's the best player on whatever team he's on.
What do you think about Zach Currier? Is Zach Currier a face of the franchise? Because I think Aiden McGuire would be like.
To me, when I hear face
Zach
of the
Carrier
franchise,
top-
the Water
Zach Carrier
Dogs,
top
it's
two.
Michael Sowers, it's CJ Kurse. Those are the guys you think of right away when you think of the Dogs.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though. Like, there's faces of the franchise with play on the field, which is like a Zach Curry, which is Kevin's touching on. Then there's like the marketing face of the franchise, which is clearly the names that like the PLL pushes out. Like, it's not like a breaking news.
No, it's not
Aiden
breaking.
Same-
McGuire
yeah.
can run up the
Same
field
with the
and score
Archers.
goals. He
Same
can
with
get
the
the ball in
Archers.
the back of the net.
Same with the Archers, though. Like Graham Hossack is probably the.
We could go back and forth on
Yeah.
this, but I want to get in a couple more before Adam's got to bounce. We had Jake Bassino on. He talked about Silas Richmond potentially going 1. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a potential at all? You have him at 14 right now. Bassino has him at 1.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a little bit of bias there with Bassino, but like, no, I know a lot of people like Silas Richmond, and like, he's a really good player. Like, I don't know, he has all those ridiculous highlights. I'm excited to see more of him. I think this Albany team will be good this year. I don't know. I predicted on I wrote an article for First Class Lacrosse, like with 10 predictions, and like one of them was like Albany was going to win their first round game. This was for last season, and of course they got matched up with Cornell. But like, I don't know. I think we all see the potential, and look, I mean, he's a big dude. I think we all know like how skilled he is from like putting the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, like it's just like he's a guy that I think is like in the list of 10 prospects I said could go 1, because it's just like, what are you looking for if you're the
Do you think that lacrosse media is falling down a dangerous hole with Silas Richmond? Is he a social media? Is he a social media attackman like the
Like
same
a-
way? Who was it? Emmanuel Acho was that who it was? Who was calling Justin Herbert a social media quarterback? Do you know what I'm talking about? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
A little bit.
Kev, I got you.
All right,
Kev, we're on the
thanks.
same. We're clicking today.
Yeah. Is Silas Richmond a social media attackman, and I'm falling for it?
A little. And it's just, well, like I keep saying, everyone's like literally like you're 100 or you're 0, and it's like I don't know. He's gonna be a good attackman. Is he gonna be like producing these like ridiculous highlights like every week and like having 5 points? Doogs say yes.
Yeah, and also like, well, because if we're going off the theme of this podcast, Adam, like, who's going to sell more jerseys, at Aiden McGuire or Silas Richmond if he has like TLN goal of the week like 5 times?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone knows who
Franchise
Silas
alternate.
Richmond is until
Silas
TLN posted
Richmond,
his
franchise
viral
alternate.
clip.
God, you're such a troll.
Nobody knew who Pacino was.
Yeah, you're the one that went after Bassino when we did this like, last
I'm going to
And
say
he saw the
something.
clip. Oh,
and
God.
that's why you're probably like talking about an Albany guy now, is because
Yeah, get him, Adam. Get him, Adam.
Stand
Get
your
him.
ground. Hell yeah.
don't put
I
this
was
on me.
so right. I was so right a year ago, and I admit when I'm wrong.
You were
I
right.
also don't think I still don't think he's the best long stick midi in the league, though.
Who do you
Yeah,
think
but
it is?
he's going to win it, the award.
I totally think he should win the award. I still think it's Owen Grant.
Well,
I
Owen
wouldn't
Grant's
want
gonna
him
be close
beating
to
me
the
up.
defense next year.
Yeah.
And I also think Michael Grace, what he did, and not saying Pacino's better, but I think what Michael Grace did this year in games played is probably more impressive.
I agree with that too.
I think Pacino's offensive threat alone for me gives him the edge at least
Right.
this
He's
year.
also-
Like his
I mean,
he's also
ability,
just, like, so
maybe
clearing
he
away,
might not
like-
be as good on ball covering wise as those other two guys that you mentioned, but the ability that he gives you in transition week after week, scoring wise, and the threat that he brings is just to me so
No one's
valuable in
there
this
to
league.
play defense as an LSM in the PLL. It's all about the points.
Exactly.
And Adam,
Getting up
I
and down.
think that is the reason why Owen Grant never got moved down to close defense. Is clearly the Cannons value what he could do in transition more than they. I think it's obvious he would have been their best close defenseman if they ever moved him down. But they just value what he brings on that transition. So that's why I see the Will Donovan thing, and I'm like, I don't know. I think they really like what they have Owen Grant. I would take a close defenseman, maybe Bob Van Buren, number 2.
Totally.
Okay. I like that. Adam, I got one more before you bounce. Who's been the biggest guy you've been not high on? A guy you didn't think was going to get drafted?
You're trying to get him
Potentially-
clipped here.
No. I just want to see.
You're putting him on the
Guys,
chopping block,
setting up
Adam.
for
He's putting you
failure.
on black.
No. I want to see what's a guy in the past that you haven't been high on
Oh,
that's outperformed
Ooh.
your word.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. Good switch up, Mitch.
No, that was what I
Good
was going
question.
Great question, Mitch.
This year,
This
I
is
mean,
why
I
they pay
think-
back
I
fee.
think-
Or in the past.
I think the biggest one, I think 2 this year. Now, like I had them relatively high, but I think they've just been way better than I thought they were, and that's Matt Trainer and I'd say Owen Hiltz, and I think a lot of people agree on Owen Hiltz. But like, I think Matt Trainer specifically, I was a little lower on him than I think a lot of people because like, I don't know, I've never seen him dodge the way he's dodging now in the PLL. Like, I just think like. Hoagie, you talked about like players games being suited for the PLL. Like he's a guy that's just been like way better than I thought. Like if you would have told me who was the Atlas top midfield, scorer, I would have been like, wouldn't have believed it. But he's just been very good.
I got one more. As a McDonough guy, we're going to potentially see McCabe in one of these mock drafts here soon.
Yeah.
Do you think he has a potential to be a face of the franchise type player in the PLL?
Yeah, and you want to know something too? You want to know something too?
I want to hear it.
The 2027 draft is going to be insane.
Oh, stay tuned, fans. I like that.
You got Duffy. You got Owen Duffy. You got, I think, Petramala. Yeah, because it's redshirt year. McCabe Millen. Sean Light. Ben Johnson out of Duke. Like, Ryan Goldstein out of Cornell. Like, there is the 27 draft. Like, it's going to be a good one.
I like to stay tuned. We'll get you on. You might be the guest that we have on the most, and I appreciate you always saying left. Yes, Doogs, last question.
Why don't you have one Garden City kid on this? Why don't you have Jack Cascadden or Brendan
It's a
Staub?
fallen off
tell
high
me,
school.
tell me why Brendan
the
Staub.
mock?
Tell me what Brendan Staub did in the NCAA tournament to not get any recognition to be on your draft board. Because if you want to talk about a guy that can lock your best player down and then shoot twos like Owen Grant, like he's the prototype. And if you're like looking there like I gotta watch some more of Staub. Makes winning plays all over the field. Public school, grit. Riverdale, his ass.
Yeah, I'll put him on the board. I had a note about Cascadden.
Yeah, he'll help you out.
But yeah, he's good.
Staub, I'll
Look,
pretty
Adam's,
much do.
Adam's sick of your bullshit. Adam, thanks for coming on the show.
I'll do
Let's
Dukes
clap it
Lock.
up for Adam
Dukes
Lamberti on
Lock.
the
Brendan
Untitled
Staub will be
Lacrosse
drafted.
Show. Adam, thanks for coming on.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys
Adam.
for having me. I appreciate it.
As we keep it going. Dude, you smell anything down there in Charleston? What's that stench? It smells kind of good.
Oh,
It's your-
Kev,
what's that,
the
Kev?
weekend started early. Look at him.
You need some Duke Cannon.
You need some Duke Cannon. What about this? Oh, on
there-
set. Duke
Yeah, you need
Cannon. Midnight swim. Let me pop it off. You guys
Put
ever
that thing
seen the-
on.
You guys ever seen the Kickstart with deodorant? Ah! Smells amazing right now.
Never used.
Smells midnight swim. Talk to us, Kev.
I'd eat
Talk
this.
to us, Kev.
Play Lax Day. That's the Duke Cannon Work Harder, Smell Better moment of the week. Every single one of you that submitted a clip, every single one of you that got involved, picked up the stick like Mitch is right now. I know Doogs doesn't have a stick right now in South Carolina.
Doesn't even
but
have a stick.
He's gonna spend all day searching for a stick so he can take a selfie video to send in to us. Hoagie, I know you got something cooking. Can't wait to see it. But everyone that got involved for Play Lax Day, huge shout out to all of you.
Shout out.
Corey, I
stick in your
sent
hands,
you
get
my
the stick in
my
your
Play
hands.
Lax Day video. Are you able to play it?
What is this?
Is this Kev?
Play it.
Play it. Play it.
I'm Kevin Boylard, and welcome to Play Lax Day.
Oh.
That was close.
That's one.
Kev.
Oh, right in the knee.
Mitch, there's no way you would ever do this. You wouldn't even do this for a
Absolutely.
grand. Don't say it. Kev, do you have a cup on? Does you have a cup on?
No cup, no helmet. We just went straight up on the wall. So everyone get on the wall today. Not like me. Get on the wall
Get
with
on
your
the
stick.
wall.
Play
Where-
wall ball.
Where are they playing? Are they playing D1?
Mitch, look at that. We
The
got
kid
weapons.
shooting is playing at
Machinery.
Harvard. His name's Hudson McCarthy.
Hudson McCarthy. Can you do your research, Dukes?
We just showed a random video.
We got to put a clip out. Someone
How did you
needs to
not know where
express-
he's going to college?
Yeah.
Because I don't do the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse experience. I don't get invited. I don't get invited to Team Frog.
Yeah, you've been
I don't get the
invited. You've been
scout. I don't get the
invited live
scout.
on the show.
I don't get
Shout out
paid
all the
to
people contributing.
you.
Shout out to all the people contributing. Again, pick up the stick, have some fun. The whole
Let's go.
The whole thing about Play Lax Day, it's been a celebration for 10 years.
Yeah.
If you have an extra stick, give it to a friend that is in need or doesn't know how to play. Have a toss to them. Let's continue to grow this sport.
Grow the medicine game, baby.
Grow the medicine game. But let's go into a little start bench cut. I'm excited about this one. I got to get my chair. Hold on.
Really? I feel like this is like the 10th one in a row you've been excited about.
It's my favorite segment.
More than ball knower?
More than ball knower?
So
Yeah.
negative in
Wait,
Charlotte.
more than ball knower?
That's like last week.
No, they're probably up there because I'm in the lead. And the
I
wager
realized-
now is, I don't know, I still got to think of
Well,
one.
we're
I
changing
just
up.
I want to also congratulate us. I think I've promoted our interviews, and I've like, this is the best one yet. I think we've had 8 interviews this year that have been the best ones yet, and I think that's a record.
Yes.
Yeah.
8 best
Hey,
ones yet.
I love being around positive guys. That's what I'm saying. Start bench cut. Best games in the PLL all time. You ready? Hoagie, I'm going to start with you. As a guy that potentially knows ball, but we'll find out. 2019 PLL Championship. Rambo overtime whips over Redwoods in OT. 2023 PLL Championship. Archers over Water Dogs. Or 2024 PLL semifinals. We were all there live. Whips over Atlas in overtime.
Wow, this is tough because these are all such great games.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm going to start the 2024 PLL semifinals Whips Atlas game. Just personally, I was at that game. That was the best lacrosse game I've ever watched live. That overtime period of 8 minutes of action, back and forth, no timeouts. You know, we had Jake Stevens hitting a pipe. We had, you know, Krebs making a save where he didn't even see the ball. It just happened to hit him in the chest. We had everyone just crazy action. To me, I'm starting that game. I'm benching the 2023 PLL Championship. That was an amazing game to watch live. I mean, you think Dauber's kick save for the win on the Caraway play, Schreiber getting the go-ahead goal before that. The crowd was awesome. And then I'm cutting the 2019 PLL Championship. Obviously, that was iconic. Rambo coming around the edge in Philly, winning the first championship in PLL history for the Whipsnakes. But just in terms of the other two games, in terms of the juice, in terms of how crazy those games were to me, I'm starting the semifinals in 24, benching the championship in 23, and then cutting the 19 championship.
Mine's very different.
Let's hear it.
I'm starting the 2019 championship. How are
Really?
you not starting the first ever championship with an ending like that? Scripted or not?
How
can
about
you
the
come
other
up with
the
a
other
better
games are more
outcome than that?
exciting? The other games are more exciting.
It was
This-
the first ever championship and it ended that way with a legend like Matt Rambo? Criminal.
Yeah, it was a great
criminal,
game. These
criminal.
were all great games, Mitch. It's hard to pick.
100%. 100%. I'm benching last year's semifinals. Whips over Atlas. We were there live. Potentially top 5 games I've seen in person in my life. I would say top 3. But I would say that was, and again, for the shoeing on the line, it just kind of made the most sense. And then I'm cutting the Archers over Dogs in 23. The foot save was obviously iconic, but those 2 games top it for me. Kevin down in North Carolina, what do you got?
Neither one of us are in North Carolina.
He's in South Carolina.
South
Mitch.
Carolina. South Carolina. Also,
Still doesn't
we don't
narrow it down.
We don't refer to Doogs as Kevin. It's Doogs.
All right. Okay. Got you. I'm going. And I'm the opposite of you. I'm going to start the 2023 PLL Championship. It's a great game all the way around. But one thing I got to point out about that game, Graham Hossick's hit was
on Ben
the
Randall.
craziest
Yeah.
hit in any sport at any event I've ever, like, talk about, like, the whole crowd going, ooh, and, like, then getting quiet. Like, crazy moment that I've ever seen at any sport event. I'm going to bench the PLL semifinals 2024 last year, Whips over Atlas. Thought that was an awesome game. The overtime obviously made it. We were all there. Little sentimental for me. Got my MPLS start that weekend because Doogs' train
Train was
couldn't hop on the
delayed,
right
yeah.
train or something,
Yep.
and I had to hop on with you guys. And then I'm going to cut the 2019 PLL championship just because it feels a little bit like ancient history at this point.
Okay, interesting. Doogs?
Yeah, we're talking about the best games ever. A game is 4 quarters. A game isn't just all about the comeback like 2019 was, because for the most part, that game kind of sucked. Great ending does not mean a great game. Starting the 2023 PLL Championship, best 4-quarter game I think I've ever seen. Just what was on the line, too. Water Dogs going for back-to-back, kind of could have crept into that at that time, like the best PLL franchise of all time. In Philly, you had that huge Philly backing of the Water Dogs at that time. Archer's also chasing their first championship. Tom Schreiber trying to get his first PLL championship. And then I'm going to cut the 2019 championship.
Wow, that's crazy, I think.
Great comeback again. And it was we're talking about the 3 all-time games. And from personal preference, I'm going off 2 games that I was there live in person for.
Yeah.
And just that overtime, what made the overtime of the Redwoods whips, like it was like first championship, Matt Rambo in Philadelphia, quick goal. It was heartbreaking for the Notre Dame guys that like were never able to get it done. Like Matt Cav, Matt Landis, Garrett Epple, all playing for one last ride together with Landis. Like there were storylines there, but just being at Hofstra for that game, where you could the first time it was like a home crowd. You know, we were in New York for the New York Atlas. You could drop a pin from how silent it was for that 6 minutes that it wasn't scoreless. Like that added so much intensity to it. Heartbreaking, like home atmosphere.
And the shoey
that was
on
the
the
first.
line.
Yeah, you know, nobody cares about the shoey because mostly anybody above the age of 21 that's listening to this has probably done a shoey in their life. Mitch, more people are concerned about like what beer they're putting in their shoe. Mitch is like, what about the germs? What about the germs?
Oh, that's a great segue.
Am I gonna get E. coli?
Because we got ball knower of the week. And Corey, before you say the question, I just want you to say out loud the standings and where we all are sitting.
Yeah, well, we're also going to
No.
Are we keeping it the same way as usual, or are we changing it up this week?
We can't change the format now, although that was a good YouTube comment.
Yes.
So the
Mitch,
standings.
did you see the comment?
No, I didn't see the comment. What was the comment?
They said that, in theory, we should just start writing our answers down and flipping it on a paper rather than having you just name every MLL team until you get it right.
It was the second one I named.
But you weren't confident where you were like, I know it's the Rattlers. You just
I had
kept
2
rattling
in my
it off.
head.
Second
I
one
thought
he
it
named,
was.
and then ripped off 6 more just
Yeah,
in case.
exactly. Like, if you were like, oh, I know it's the Rattlers, you would have been like, it's
Look,
Rochester.
fellas,
It's like,
I can't
Just own it.
relate. I can't relate because I'm not a loser. I'm winning. Corey, what's the standings?
All right, the standings. Kev and Mitch are tied at first with 4.
What? Damn.
I mean, Mitch just
And
rattles off
Hoagie's
teams.
got a half point. Keep going.
Mitch,
Hoagie.
you Googled last week, and then last week named the
my
whole
mom
MLL
texted
league.
me. How are you gonna bring family involved? It's just sad.
Doogs.
We also did like Make-A-Wish Mitch, and we gave him like the STX question. So like, you
Yeah,
know.
that's 3 doctored points. Name
Can
the
you
whole
let our producer
name
talk?
every MLL
Let our
franchise. Check.
producer talk.
Google and look up the answer.
Look, at
check.
the end of the day, when you're at the
STX
top, people are
athlete
coming
first
for you.
head
It's
check.
a life
That's
lesson
three
for all
Keep
your
going,
young
Corey.
fans out there.
Yeah, just shut up, Make-A-Wish Mitch.
Kevin Mitch at 4. Doogs 2.5. Hoagie 0.5.
half,
But
yeah.
for ball
I'm
knower,
at-
Half point.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually trying to think of the
That's
question,
sad.
not just
I
yelling
wouldn't
team
even show
names.
my kids this.
I'm not just yelling
Sad.
team names till I get it right.
My
I'm
name's
trying to
James
think
Hogan.
of the
I have
question.
half of a point. It's just clinically sad. All right, what's the ball knower of the week?
so we're doing it a little differently. AP message from AP.
Yep. So PLL's on a bye week. I think we're going to take a bye week, kind of, for ball knower of the week. So I don't know if you guys know, but Corey's not the ball knower question giver. It's the eye in the sky. It's me. I make the ball knower questions. And yes, Doogs, that was Make-A-Wish Mitch because I felt bad that he couldn't get one. So
Hey, it started the roll.
during this bye week, we are going to reassess the rules. We can't have Mitch screaming. We can't have him texting his mom for answers because that's probably what he was doing.
How are we not even going to do one question?
Yep.
So-
Thanks, Mitch. See, Mitch, it's coming back to
See,
bite you
Mitch,
now.
We're
Fine.
gonna take
I'm
a week to
great, we
review.
need I'm so great. We need to fix the rules. I'm fine with that. I'll
Yeah,
take
we're
that.
going to take
I'll
a
own
week
that.
to review. But for this
2022
week,
Trevor Baptiste.
We couldn't
Yeah.
have Mitchell Pehlke on the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show come in last place for ball knower of the week. No one would listen to our show.
It's
Also,
Memphis
was
can we,
on-
just, can we hit on one
We
more
got the
time?
call from
Hoagie's
up
got a
top.
half point.
I do have a half point.
Sad.
yeah,
I do.
because Hoagie's
Keep
thought.
going, AP.
Yep. So this week, it's going to be different. We're not taking it all the way off. Everybody here is going to get a point if you submit something for Play Lax Day. Okay. What?
I'm
What?
out of the half point. Let's go.
If you don't get a point. I'm looking at Doogs. Now here's the kicker. If everybody submits something for Play Lax Day, we'll go to a tie break. The point goes to who has the best one, in which Corey and I will decide.
Wow.
Okay. Interesting.
I posted a yard sale. The one club lacrosse clip I have. Is that okay?
Play Lax
Does that
Day from
count?
2018 does
Supposed to
not count.
play.
Yeah, you better go to the beach surf club and get one of those bullshit fiddlesticks and
Yeah.
be on it.
Yeah, shout out to anyone that's rooting for Hogan as a half point. I feel bad for your future. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Kev, any sign outs?
No, go play lax.
Go pick up the
Play
stick,
Lax Day.
baby. Play